Hello, welcome, ghouls and goblins. Hello. I came up with that myself. I know, proud of myself. Anyway, this is Jacob's Film Perspectives, and we are here today with Deontay the Giant,
Ooh.
Craven Conventions, otherwise known as Bella, and the long forsaken troll that we have gathered. We have went through Middle Earth to find this thing, and he's back. His name is Nicholas.
Ooh.
He goes by Nick today.
What's
and here we
up?
are to talk about the Terrifier franchise. Nick has made his way back. He made his way back to talk about the sickest movies we've ever talked about on this podcast. So it makes sense. It makes sense.
Real enhanced tonight.
In case Damien sees this, I see your little messes, Nick. Don't worry, I'm going to be nice. I'm going to be nice. But okay, let's. So, Terrifier 3 came out, as all you people know, probably. I'm guessing since it smashed the box office, beat the second Joker. What else is it? I mean, it beat everything basically. I think it went third this week though. I forgot what came out this week, but something beat it. Anyways, it's a smash hit. It's huge. It kind of started with Terrifier 2 is when it blew up, and now Terrifier 3 is just even blowing up even more. I guess we can start with All Hallows Eve. Get into it. Me and Bella have not seen this, but we know about it because we're smart. And Deontay and Nick are the weirdos that have the time to watch it.
Hey.
Woo!
And so, what do you guys think about All Hallows Eve? Let's get into that. So,
There's one thing in particular that you forgot about.
I was about to say we forgot something, Jacob.
Yeah.
What did we forget?
There's a special introduction.
Oh, my special intro. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm just not narcissistic. I'm sorry.
God, you need to be more narcissistic, Jake.
Now watch this intro and see how narcissistic I really am.
Mm.
Shout out Will, SNN Network for that. That was beautiful, lovely, calming.
Oh yeah.
Classy.
Contrast to what we're going to be talking about here. Shorty says, "Hi, beautiful people. Good to see you all. Thank you for calling me beautiful. I appreciate that."
Excuse
out
me,
to
he said
Shorty.
beat people.
We got Ryan Gosling here.
Oh, I thought he was going to talk about the four of us.
Well, also you three are beautiful, of course.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Oh.
right.
But let's get into it. All Hallows Eve. Let's start. Deontay, Nick, what do you think about this weird horror? I know it's a horror anthology. I'm not a big fan of horror anthologies. I know that's your thing, Nick.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me personally, I thought it was a decent movie. So the first time I watched it, I was probably like 13, and then I kept watching it like yearly until I was like 17. The first segment and the last segment, the Knife Circle and Terrifier, are like the cream of the crop. The second one with the alien makes no sense to me. I've watched people try to videos about explaining it with the timeline, with art. It's just so random and honestly kind of stupid in my opinion. Kind of stupid. I will say overall, it does have that very low budget feel that Terrifier is known for. And I will say there is a very drastic contrast between the Knife Circle and Terrifier, because the Knife Circle came out in like I think 2008. I think the Terrifier short came out like 2013. And honestly, I think like wait, I'm sorry, I froze up for a second. Honestly, I think overall, like the Terrifier short film was a nice preview of the future franchise. The Knife Circle has some good elements to it, but overall, like the Knife Circle is still like a very art sideshow. Like he's there, but he's not the main bad guy. Okay. So overall, I would give All Hallows Eve probably a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I was about to say that's pretty high.
Ooh, I wonder what I would give it. What would I give All Hallows Eve? Like just All Hallows Eve by itself with like the 3 stories in the movie. I'd say a 6.5. Well, maybe a 7 just because like most people, you have to be like a part of the Art the Clown cult to appreciate the creativity that he brings to the table, and the fact that Damien Leone is just like, screw all the rules. I'm just going to make Art the most stereotypical slasher serial killer ever, but I'm going to up the ante a little bit and give him a gun. So, this dude carried knives, hacksaws, sometimes chainsaws, depending on which movie you're talking about. 9mm pistol, and it's just like if you encounter Art the Clown, you pretty much can kiss your ass goodbye. And that's all you see in Hallows Eve. Like he's in the 3rd story. Well, I'll give you guys a little bit of context. So the movie is basically this single mother is babysitting this other person's child and her own daughter, and they're having like a sleepover or whatever for like Halloween night. Someone places a VHS tape in his candy bag, and the VHS tape has all these different horror stories. It's like 3 different horror stories, and like the first 2 not about Art the Clown at all, but the 3rd one is definitely about Art the Clown. And this is all Damien Leone's writing. This is his directing, and he even does like the makeup and special effects for this movie. So it's like if you want to see like Art the Clown before the Terrifier franchise really took off, like that is a good place to go see. I watched it on Prime Video for like a $3.99 rental just the other night, and it was just like, man, I could always use more violence with Art. So it's gratuitous. I'll say that. I'll say that he's caught a lot of bodies. His special part of the movie, he was just stalking like one person, but one guy decided to be a douchebag to him, so we caught an extra body this movie, and he does it in old fashioned Art the Clown style. So if you're familiar with Art the Clown, you get to see him in all his glory.
Okay.
I will say though, the 3rd segment is probably my favorite piece of Terrifier media ever.
Oh man,
because the way he kills the girl in there, it's just so cold-hearted. Like it's not funny. It's not like humorous. It's just very mean-spirited. Like it's more mean-spirited than Allie's death, than the chainsaw death. It's just very cold for like no reason. Like I remember the first time I saw it, I was just like, oh crap, that's actually terrifying. That's actually like very terrifying.
Yeah.
And the whole 3rd segment is just terrifying to watch, honestly, because like the girl, like what oh, I'm sorry, I cannot talk. Like what Deontay was saying, you know, like Art is just always after your ass. Like
when Art sees you, it's you're pretty much, it's a wrap. Like you're cooked.
Isn't he played by somebody different in that?
Was he?
That's what I saw. I saw that Art was played by somebody different than David Howard Thornton in All Hallows.
For the Knife Circle and the Terrifier short film, he was.
Because I saw David Howard Thornton didn't come in until the first Terrifier.
Yeah.
That's basically what I knew about the All Hallows Eve, is that somebody else played Art.
Yeah, I heard.
How would you compare those 2 performances?
The first actor for the Knife Circle, like his acting performance was just there because Art probably had only like a couple minutes of screen time in that one. For the Terrifier short film, I would say it's very on par with the first Terrifier movie because he really captures the whole like creepy clown aspect of Art. So overall, probably the Terrifier short film actor is more on par with the movie itself.
Okay.
I can agree with that. So
All right.
David Howard Thornton, he just blends right in. It's just like there's another guy before him, and you just can't tell the difference between the arts.
Interesting. I
And
guess
I
I'll
mean-
have to go watch it.
It's good. I liked it. I liked it a
Mhm.
lot.
I'm not a big horror horror anthology, but I will try to watch it when I have the time. There's only a few anthologies I like, but yeah, I mean, so basically, I guess that's all Hell's Eve. Get that out of the way. I feel like if we didn't talk about it, the true fans would be knocking down my door, trying to murder me, saying, "Jacob, you didn't talk about the first one on your show," and I'd be like, you know what? I don't care. But anyway, let's get into the first Terrifier.
Yay!
Now, y'all three are gonna go first, obviously.
Okay.
But I wanted to say how I got introduced to this. I guess to introduce it. So back in 2018, I want to say I had a friend of mine, and he was like, "Dude, there's this movie from a few years ago, and there's this scene where he saws a woman in half, basically." And he was like, "You want to?" And he showed me the video of it on YouTube, and I remember watching it back in 2018, and this was before I kind of started getting into horror in 2018 more, because when I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch rated R films until I was like 13, 14. And besides Halloween, though, of course, for some reason, Halloween was okay. And that's probably why it's my favorite to this day. But so when I saw that, it made me like lightheaded. Like I remember feeling like nauseous and lightheaded about it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that movie. I don't need to see that movie. I was like, that's just gore to be gory. I don't care. It doesn't have a story. I don't want to see it. So I was kind of against the Terrifier franchise for a long time. I was like, oh, it's just gore. I don't care about that. And then Terrifier 2 came out a few years ago, and everybody was talking about it. And I was like, well, maybe I should check it out. But then it took me 2 more years until one of my best friends got into it. And he was like, actually, this summer in July, just a few months ago in July, is when I first watched all these movies. And he was like, dude, you got to see these movies. They're absolutely just really messed up. He's just like, Art the Clown is something you just got to see for yourself. The way he was talking about it. And so I checked it out. I watched the first 2 back to back. And then I watched the third one in theaters. And yeah, there's stuff to say. And I will say overall, though, I am a fan. I have become a fan of the franchise. I even have the Funko Pop of Art the Clown. I was excited I was going to do here at our local con in Cape. We were supposed to have him come as dressed up as Art the Clown, and director Damien Leone was going to come, but he had to cancel, I'm guessing due to press for how Terrifier 3 blew up. So I was going to do like a photo op. I was going to pay $80 just to get a picture with Art the Clown or whatever, 100, whatever it was.
Suited up.
Yeah, it's all suited up. But then it got canceled. David Howard Thornton is still going to be here, which is cool, but I wanted him to be as Art the Clown. I'm probably not going to get an autograph or anything. But I was willing to do that because I am a fan. I think we do have a new horror icon in Art the Clown. I think he's reached that level now. I think it's safe to say because he's something different. And with Blake's comment, since he commented here about there's not much acting as art, I would disagree with that. I feel like David Howard Thornton acts his butt off because I feel like it's hard as hell to not use any dialogue and to show everything with your face. And yes, he does have a lot of prosthetics and makeup, but I feel like even with that, I feel like that just makes it harder to show your face even more. So I feel like David Howard Thornton deserves all the credit for a lot for how art is. I mean, it's just incredible. I don't think anybody can deny that. And I know the other guy retired from acting after he played Art. I didn't know that. I don't know if that's why he stopped acting, but I just heard he was tired of acting, so he retired.
You talking about the guy before David, or
yeah, the guy in the comments here? They said Mike Gianelli is the other actor for Art. There's a small interview he did about how hard it was, so he stopped acting. I never seen that interview. I thought he just stopped acting because he was tired of it. I thought he just retired. I don't know if he retired from it or not, but yeah. Body movement is everything. I mean, I feel like that's different. I feel like art is a different thing. David Howard Thornton, I think you can't deny, is great as Art the Clown. But anyway, yeah, that's my introduction with it. Now I'll give it away to my peoples here. Whoever wants to go, it's free for all. Kill each other, don't kill each other, but like
Battle to the death.
Oh man.
whoever wants to go, just state what your introduction to the franchise was and like what you think of the first movie.
I can go.
Yes.
I mean, okay, I've heard about the Terrifier for a while. I didn't watch any of them until we decided to do this episode, though. Because for similar reasons to Jacob, like I kind of got the sense like, okay, this is just gonna kind of be gratuitous gore. I don't really know if I want to subject myself to that right now. Like I'm busy. I don't know if that's really like how I want to spend 3 days in a row watching each movie, which is actually what I ended up doing for this. Is I just watched all of the movies in like one straight shot, and I don't recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, me too.
But I had very similarly, like I'd been hearing a lot from other people about like how intense it is and Art the Clown being really dynamic and fascinating, like serial killer kind of joining the canon of horror icons. So yeah, that was exciting getting to like form my own opinions on the franchise, and I'm seeing what everyone was talking about with it.
What would you give the first movie out on the scores? Like a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say.
Oh, are we already scoring? We haven't even like started talking about the movie yet.
Oh, we can.
Absolutely. Horses.
I think we should talk about the movie itself. Like, yeah, a girl gets sawed in half. That wasn't for nothing.
It's a gift that keeps on giving. Okay, my friend showed it to me. I showed it to you and Deontay. Nick was already the weird freak in the corner that already had seen it because that's Nick.
That's true.
Nick is more in on the lore than all of us combined, probably.
Apparently.
And like the lore is so messy, but I'm trying to remember how I found out about Terrifier.
I want to know how you found out about it because I feel like that's interesting. Because
I'm pretty sure I was watching like a Watch Mojo top 10 creepy clown video, and Art was in there. And whenever I first found out about like the actual Terrifier movie, I'm pretty sure it was still on Netflix. So I watched it, and I was like, this movie is just a whole new level because first there's the jack-o'-lantern scene, then the Saul scene, then he just shoots the girl out of nowhere. Like, what? The final girl's dead? And then the ending happens, and it was just like that movie was honestly a trip, and it reminded me of like movies like Wrong Turn, Hatchet, The Collector, stuff like that. Like very early 2000s porno like grind movies, stuff like that.
I mean, I think that's exactly like what it's trying to emulate though, with that first one especially.
Oh, it is because the first one has no story. There is no actual story in it. Like the movie's just random people getting killed in the most brutal ways possible.
Yeah.
We don't really learn a lot about anybody, but I will say that's one of the things I do find impressive about that first one is the character Victoria.
Oh yeah.
Like it's not often that we see the final girl character introduced in a sequel instead of our first film, an introduction to the world in the horror story. So I found that very interesting that he did manage to successfully build off of the characters and the storyline that he created in this first one.
Yeah, I looked up the Wikipedia page, and the first thing that pops up in like one of the first paragraphs is like one of Damien Leone's regrets is that he didn't do more with the characters, and it's just like, damn. I mean, you kind of shot the shit anyway, so screw it. I didn't need the development for this movie to get from point A to point B. I was taken aback a little bit when he killed the final girl, and it's just like I gave him an excuse for it. It's just like, oh, he just put all his energy into cutting that girl in half, so he's too tired to chop anybody else up. So he shoots the final girl in the head. It's like, oh, it makes perfect sense. All right, Art's just lazy.
No, I'm not even gonna lie. That's my favorite kill of the first movie is when he just shoots her. That's my favorite.
So good. So good.
Like, good God
because
Almighty.
it's so unexpected and it's so great. Like he just pulls it out of his shoe and just kills her. Like that's what, because I mean, by this point, slashers have been done to death. So I mean, you got to do something different. And I mean, the fact that there's no limits to what weapons he uses, I like that about him. I feel like that adds to the character, and that makes it stand out from all the Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Kruegers of the world.
Yeah, it's interesting because it does have a very self-aware quality of like, I know I'm being campy right now, and you're still gonna enjoy it.
Exactly.
Like, I do appreciate the fact that it kind of makes fun of the genre in that way, of including these just kind of ridiculously over-the-top moments where it's like the character is just screaming in the frame for an excessively long period of time.
I don't know what Damien was thinking when he did that, but I kind of can't hate. It's just like if I knew there was a clown on the loose and he was known for chopping people up, but he also had a 9mm strap to duct tape to his ankle, I'd have been like, bro, just show me mercy and blow my brains out. I'm cool on being hung upside down and being cut from my vagina to my head. I'm cool on that. I'm good, bro. I'm not like I got traumatized quite a bit watching this movie, and it's just like the very first murder wasn't even Art. It was Vicky, and she killed like a talk show host, and I almost puked a little bit because I was eating like while watching it, and I was like, man, I knew this was a dumb idea.
Oh no,
I knew that was a dumb idea.
Disclaimer: never eat while watching any of these movies.
That's true. That's true.
Whoever is watching this, never eat. Put this on while eating. Never do that.
Never. I had a whole piece in my mouth.
Oh God!
I had a whole piece in my mouth, and it was like, please don't show her face again. And the camera just freezes on her face. And I'm like, God, stop it!
I gagged when I saw that for the first time because she's just shit talking her, and she comes out and goes like that, and just like the sounds it made, it was so squishy. I was like, oh, that's disgusting. And the worst part about the Terrifier movies, like the kills, is I mentioned this earlier, Art has the power to keep people alive longer to torture them more. So like, because people were asking about the whole like alley kill and some of the other kills from the first movie, and Damien's like, yeah, Art has the power to keep people alive longer to torture them more. I'm like, that's just fucked up to a whole new level.
That's wild, bro. Like,
you know, I look at Damien Leone. Damn, I said Lemone. Anyway, sorry about that, sir. But anyway, I look at him and I want to ask him a question. What happened in your childhood?
Who hurt you?
This man has serious trauma.
The thought to come up with some of this stuff, like I mean, anybody who's watched the show know I'm a sick man, but like I could never have come up with the stuff that this man comes up with in Terror. Like I could never imagine writing some of the stuff that is in any of these movies, let alone the first one.
Facts.
I'm not gonna lie. When I got to the scene of the girl being sawed in half, I did question if I could finish watching all of these.
Lord, I had to tap out.
Oh, I did tap out. I was like, I'm gonna look away.
Maybe I'm just sick.
Plowed through it the first time because like I was watching it, it comes up and it's like, you know what, just keep watching, and I regret every minute of it because it was just such a bad kill.
We got a question from Blake in the comments. It says, can anyone explain why everything looks like early 90s, late 80s, but then everyone has modern day cell phones and like newer cars?
I put that up to it just being low budget. I mean, he made what he could with what he had. Like, if you don't know about Damien Leone, he's a practical effects guy. He's an effects artist first, and you can definitely tell that with the first movie. It's more of an effects-driven thing than a direction. You know, there's a direction, a script. He's definitely a better effects artist than writer and director. I will say that, but it's just, I think that's what it is. It was just too low budget. I mean, you couldn't really. He probably shot it in a town that he lived near or something. I doubt. I mean, it was low budget. The first, like, All Hallows Eve was like a straight to DVD thing. Like, I mean, you do what you can as a low budget filmmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got all of his equipment from Southeast Missouri State University, so it's
Yeah, shout out, Red Hot.
He really did.
Shout out the Red Hot.
I liked the fact that it kind of looks like an 80s and 90s film. Like, it made me really nostalgic when that first one opened. I was like, okay, I feel like I am watching an old horror movie right now.
I will say that score completely rips off Halloween and John Carpenter all the way.
All the way.
But you know what? I remember watching that first one and I was like, I'm loving this score, man. I wonder why. Like I was just like vibing with the score. And then I thought about it. I was like, wait a minute. And then it hit me. It's like, this is basically a John Carpenter ripoff. But you know what? Shout out to, I think it's Paul Wiley did the score.
He did.
Shout out to him because he did a very good Carpenter-esque score for sure. I mean, yeah, it's a little, it works for what it is, but I think the first movie has overall the best score out of all of them. I think
it does.
I think it has the best score. I think the second and third one they kind of changed with the score, which obviously they probably should have. But the first one, I mean, it's John Carpenter-esque. I'm gonna love it. If you sound like Halloween, I'm gonna love it.
Facts. What was the name of our film festival that we always had at SEMO?
Wait, what was it?
It wasn't River Tales. That's something else.
Fault Line.
Yeah, that's. It looks like something you see at Fault Line Film Festival.
Man, sure. If somebody showed this at Fault Line, I could imagine Jones's face.
Jones would have been like, "How the fuck did you get that body to split in half?"
Wait a minute.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of wondering that now.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the sawing part that messed me up. It was both girls were screaming mid hacking, and it's just like, oh my god, this is terrible.
Well, for me, I was like, one of the things that really hit me with that moment is the fact that he is using a handsaw, not a chainsaw, not anything that will make this process go faster. It is literally a hand saw, like a bone saw, and it should not go as quickly as like what it is done in the movie. I was like, dear God, how strong is this character? Because he just like clears through her.
It's just like, God, Jesus, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why he just uses guns after that, but I think he earned the right to shoot somebody after that. It's just like, no, I'm good on hacking people up for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't feel of it being old, but the cars and phones. I mean, yeah, I can see that, but like I said, I think it's just the low budget nature of it. He's worked with what he had.
Yeah.
But I basically how we're talking about the first movie, we're basically saying nothing about the story. We're just talking about how gory the kills are. And I feel like that's a perfect explanation of the first movie because there is no story, like we've been saying.
Right.
Like when I try to think and remember what the story was, I remember a girl going to a warehouse after a Halloween party or something, and then her sister comes to try to save her or is worried about her, so she drives to visit her. And then the sister turns out to be Vicky at the end. I did like that little switch thing where you don't realize that it's Vicky until, and then Vicky stays all the way to the third one. Like,
oh yeah,
she's from the first to the third. So I thought that was pretty cool how they did that. How the sister ends up being the girl that eats the face off of the news anchor or whatever at the beginning. I like that little twist.
Yeah, essentially she's Art's girlfriend. It's like, oof.
Hi, that is a spoiler for the later installments, Deontay.
That's true. That is very true. Disclaimer for y'all.
Yeah, there's a lot to Vicky that we'll get into for sure. I've heard some theories that I want to mention for sure. But yeah, the first one, I mean, yeah, the acting is it's student film acting, of course. Right. I'm not trying to dog the actresses at all. I mean, they did what they could, but the guy's an effects artist first, especially when he made this one. He was an effects artist, so he wanted to do the effects, and you can tell that wasn't he didn't have his directing chops yet.
Oh yeah.
And the acting does get better in other movies for sure, but like for this first one, I think the actresses they're probably great actresses. He probably just didn't direct them the right way. And I mean, there basically is no script. He's just like, let's show all these effects. And like, I mean, it worked because, like I said, my friend showed me this like back in 2018, and Art the Clown's kind of been in the back of my head since then, ever since I saw that scene on YouTube. And I finally watched it this summer, like 5-6 years later. So, like, I mean, it had a staying power.
Mhm.
It really does.
At least it wasn't completely forgettable.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty sure if it was any other character besides Art, that movie would have just been forgotten by everyone. Because Art is what makes that movie special.
Facts.
Yeah. Because every other character acting wise, I'm sorry to say it, they suck. Like every other character acting wise, there's like no memorable lines, no memorable nothing. But Art steals the scene every time.
Right?
Yeah, Art and the way he kills people are unfortunately the most memorable part.
Don't ever ask him
in that bathroom.
Right? He just got thrown out of a restaurant for doing something creepy that no one ever knows about.
You see like a bunch of vomit or whatever on the walls, and I'm just like, what'd you do in that bathroom, Art?
I'm pretty sure Art just carries around his own feces and just smears it all over the wall because
or something.
That was a lot of poop. That was a lot of poop.
Yeah, it's just like, what are you doing, man?
He did it in All Hallows Eve. Like he smeared shit all over a wall, and some dude cussed him out for doing it, kicked him out of his business. So
I don't know what's this thing with going to the bathroom on people and spreading the bathroom stuff around, but Art likes his bathroom stuff, I guess. I don't know.
He's got to smell so nasty too. Like the man has to smell like the nastiest person ever because his hands are covered in shit all the time.
Like a mixture of dried up blood and doo-doo all over his body. He's just like,
Imagine him putting his hands on your mouth and stuff. That would kill me right away.
For real. What's up, Noah?
I don't even be solid. I just die.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
God, so he's just so nasty. Besides, like killing aside, Art probably has the worst hygiene ever. Like the man smells like blood, feces, piss, just dark alley smells. God knows what else. He never showers. He never takes off his makeup. Like the man has to smell terrible all the time.
I love how that's what you think about Nick.
Yeah.
What? It's like a major part of the movies.
It's not a major part.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like a major part, but it sets up a lot of stuff, you know.
This man saws a woman in half, and you're worried about him how he smells.
Well,
God, he must stink.
Oh yeah, because I mean, Art the Clown has to smell like terrible.
You're not worried about the woman he saws in half, or the girl he shoots in the face.
You know, Nick, I'm really glad that you're prioritizing the 4D experience of the Terrifier.
I mean, those people are going to die regardless. Art, but the thing is, Art he needs better hygiene. He needs to like steal like body spray or something.
Right?
We'll make a support group.
He needs a whole bar of soap. He needs more than just a body spray.
Maybe that's why he's so angry. It's like he knows he stinks and no one is helping him.
Right?
Good bitches.
At least Jason Voorhees takes a bath in Camp Crystal Lake. So
there you go.
We're getting to the real topics here.
Lead by example, Jason. Thank you.
We're giving the people what we want here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
would y'all like to score it?
I mean, I don't have much else to say on the first one. I mean, we basically said. I mean, did you give your experience with the? Yeah, you did, Deonta. You talked about the pizza.
No,
Nick, you said you first saw it on Netflix, like back a few years ago or something.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like 2016 because I was still in high school.
Oh man, so yeah, you saw it. That was the year it came out, so you saw it early.
It was like around like 2016, 2017, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
you've been a fan since that beginning.
Oh, I have, and I've been traumatized by him since day one because he lives in my head rent free, and I hate it so much.
I will say he is the one killer that I would rather be killed by any other slasher than him.
Fair enough.
Michael Myers, Freddy, any of them, kill me before Art, because Art's just going to make it terrible. He's going to do some sick stuff to me. I look very I look very just like off. I don't know. I feel like I'd be like a very easy target for Art.
Oh, you would.
Me too.
Like he would see you, and he would probably grab you, and just like snap your neck instantly. Like
I would take that. That's better than what these other people got. I mean,
Yeah.
fair.
snap my neck.
I feel like the word, like between me, you, and Deontay and Isabel, the person who probably get the worst is probably Isabel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, which I can't wait to talk about, because one of my hangups with this first film was I was like, there is not equitable level of death across the gender spectrum here.
That's fair.
I have
John
seen
gets the brunt of it. Let's be fair.
I have seen Damien Leone come under fire by some people. I have seen that. I have seen him come under fire, especially of this first one. I was on Letterboxd when I first rated it, and I was reading some of the reviews on Letterboxd. It's not taken very kindly on Letterboxd. Letterboxd this movie. Like, there's so many people talking about the gender stuff, and like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's intentional. If it's not, I don't know. I don't know the man.
Yeah, what's crazy is like you give him shit for what he does to like the gender differences, and then he finds a replacement for it, because that's exactly what he did in Terrifier 3. He's like, you know what? Maybe I am too hard on men and women. Let me do kids instead. He was like, oh no, oh no, go back to the adults again, please.
You got to. If anything, yeah, it's taking some controversy, but I mean, at least he goes for it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
There could be more. I do agree, though. There could be more. There could be at least one guy in the first movie. I mean, there is one guy. But there could be more. I mean, there is a little bit of gender disparity for sure. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but it is there.
I mean, given that it spans the entire horror genre, I'm wondering.
That's true. And this is a good segue. Bella will be talking about that on her new podcast coming out very soon called Craven Conventions. Her name there. Shout out there. That was a sick segue. That was
a great segue. Thank you. I appreciate that.
She'll be talking about all that for sure. Check in, tune in. But yeah, I mean, for the first Terrifier, I mean, I think we talked about what we had to talk about.
Yeah.
There's unfortunately not a lot to dissect within this first one, other than it's like we get to really see Art go to town. We're introduced to Vicky, who ends up becoming a very important character in later installments. And we learned that he really has no preference of weapon.
Tattoo. Wow.
He's all over the place.
What would we rate it, people? All around.
I'm gonna give it probably a 7 out of 10 because the kills are good, art is good, but the rest of the acting is terrible, and probably the lack of a story turns off a lot of people to it. Honestly,
that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for me, I'll give it a 5 out of 10.
damn.
I'm not trying to be shady with that. I really enjoyed the later installments in the franchise, and this one I do think I have to rank lower because of this.
That's
like
fair.
After seeing what is possible, this one no longer holds a flame in my opinion. So I'm giving it a 5.
5 out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm like right in the middle of you guys. So she gave it a 5, you gave it a 7. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Most of it was because of art and the fact that he's the most unpredictable serial killer I've ever known. And I've grown up with so many horror classics. So it's just like, for art to even impress me with his just first film alone, I will never forget him and his MO and what makes him him. So screw the rest of the cast. It's all about art.
Okay. I'm the weirdo. I don't do out of 10. You know me. So for me, I do like letter grades. I'm going. I think I gave it a. What did I give it? Crap. I saw it in July. It's been a while. I'm old. I'd give it a. I give it a C. I think a solid C. I think is what I gave it. Just a solid, just C movie. It's just like it's decent. It's not a good movie. It's decent. The practical effects is why you're there. It started a horror icon, so you got to give it respect for that. But not much in story, acting, obviously, direction, all that, camera work. I love the score though.
Oh yeah,
that's something. Okay, I guess now we're on to the second one.
Let's go.
Which I'm gonna say it right now. Screw everything. Screw the internet. This is my favorite one.
Terrifier 2, ladies and gentlemen.
I think Terrifier 2, that's how I'm going to start this off. I will say by far Terrifier 2 is by far the best in the franchise for me personally. I don't know. We'll see when we get to when we talk about 2 here and 3. But for me, this is my favorite one in the franchise by far. Yeah. I love Terrifier. I don't love it. I don't love it. Okay, I don't love any of these movies. If I'm going to be honest, I don't love any of these movies. But if I was going to buy one, own one, if there's one I was going to watch, show people, it would be the second one for sure. And thank you, Ryan Swayze, Patrick Swayze's son, for agreeing with me, thinking that 2 is the best. Does it have rewatch value? 1, not that much. 2,
No,
I think does. I think 2 does.
Yes.
Adam Smith. Oh, my buddy Adam. He's in the comments.
Adam.
I'm scared of blood. Should I watch any of the Terrifier movies? No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Run away, Adam. Run away. Run away. You will pass out.
I mean, it depends, because if you can't do hyper realism blood, then this is not that. It is like the old mechanic. We chop off a limb. It doesn't matter where it is, even if it's not connected to an artery, it's going to start spurting as though it is. It is that old gore technology, which I kind of love.
I will give it. I will say that. I will say I agree with Bill on that one. Because I'm sensitive about blood as well, Adam. I can't look at the blood tubes when they're taking my blood. So like vampire movies, I'm a little iffy on. Some vampire movies I can't watch. Like Let the Right One In gets to me just because it's very realistic and stuff. But like the blood in this I can handle. So maybe you could handle it. I don't know. It depends on I get a little woozy around blood myself, but like I perfectly could handle these. But it depends on what you've seen, I guess.
Yeah.
And what type of blood bothers you. But yeah, let's get into 2. So obviously we all know me, Deontay, and Bella's introduction to 2. We already stated. Nick, when did you watch 2 when it was like huge? I remember it being huge like 2 years ago.
Yeah. I remember I went to the theaters with friends to see it, and they were just completely, honestly, probably traumatized by it, because they're like, hey, this movie is coming out, we should see it. I'm like, hell yeah, Art the Clown's back. And I remember the theater was just filled with people screaming, gasping, covering their eyes. People kept leaving to go to the bathroom. Ooh. It was a very wild time. And one of my friends, he was just sitting there, just no reaction the entire time, jaw dropped, glued to the screen. He gets up and he's shaking because of the movie. I'm like, bro, I'm sorry, I really am. Yeah. But yeah, no, that movie was very interesting. That movie was very interesting to me because I remember the day after that, I was telling a friend about the alley death scene, and he started gagging because of that.
So gross.
It was a lot.
2 is, in my opinion, out of all of them, the hardest to get through.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people are saying 3 is even worse. I disagree strongly. I'm like, 2, if you can get through 2, you can get through 3.
Facts.
because I find too, like the way that it is edited, where we keep just jumping back and forth between these really domestic moments and these really awful death scenes. That stressed me out. That had the desired effect. That was successful.
Yeah.
I was anxious. I felt a little sick. Felt all the things.
True.
That's crazy.
100% true.
That's crazy, the difference. Because, like, for me, I think 2's the easiest for me to get through out of all of them. Yeah. 3 got me. And then 1 definitely got me. But 2, I was able to, besides, okay, I will say the bedroom scene is pretty raw, pretty nasty for sure. But, like, I could get through it. And I'm trying to think, really, I can't remember, like, that was really the roughest kill in that movie, I think, wasn't it? The bedroom scene?
I mean,
were you talking about the Terrifier 3 bedroom scene? That was pretty. Oh, 2. I can't remember the Terrifier 2 bedroom scene.
After they go to it's after Sienna and Allie, I believe, go to the costume shop together, and they have that first sighting of Art, and then Art follows Allie home and just decides to torture her and kill her for fun in her bedroom, and like breaks her arm off. Like it's pretty in there.
I do remember that. I do remember.
It's when he gets the bleach and the salt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, throws it on her face and it's like melting her away like it's acid. It's like, whoa.
I loved that. I thought that was like, I was just like, okay, now you're really getting it there. Like, come on.
Yeah, like just the brutality, and it's so long.
It is extended.
He just goes to work on her, man. It's
like there's so many people that die in that one. Like the mom dies, both of her friends die.
The boyfriend dies. The clerk dies. That the one guy from the first movie.
The opening scene.
Yeah,
like one thing I did like is that this one picks up exactly where the first movie leaves off.
Right.
And like we are right back in the morgue with the guy doing the autopsy midst murder.
God, man. There is some positive things for Terrifier too. We do get like one of the most badass final girls in the game. Sienna, what is her last name? Sienna Shaw. So played by the lovely Lauren Lavera, and she becomes the supernatural powered badass that is the only person that can take down Art the Clown, and they are like arch nemesis for real.
Yeah. I will say, and I think in Terrifier 2, I think she has one of the best final girl performances in Terrifier 2 for me, personally. For me, just like I just like how it goes, and like that the Valkyrie suits is cool.
So cool.
Oh yeah.
It's just badass. Like it's cool, and like shout out to Lauren Lavera. The acting is very up a notch for sure in this movie. It's still, I will say 3 has overall probably the best acting overall, but I think that's because Damien Leone has more experience directing by 3. But I think 2 still has some good performances with her, and I think the guy that plays Jonathan, the brother, is pretty good too, and the friend Allie is pretty good as well.
Yeah.
And but like Lauren Lavera, that's a new crush for me too. By the way, shout out,
Queen,
as she should be.
Queen.
Queen.
I instantly fell in love with her when I saw that movie. I was like, oh yeah, this is a great final girl. Like, come on.
Yes, ma'am.
Like, put her up there with Nancy. Put her up there with Laurie Strode. I mean, come on.
I put her up there with Sydney Prescott too. I was
For
like,
real.
you go, girl.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like a 30-something-year-old actress playing the role of a teenager, and she nailed it a little bit too.
Is she really that old?
Yeah, it's like that scene where she finally suited up as a Valkyrie. I was like, this is a little risky, Damien. Am I really looking at a teenager right now? Why are you doing this? And then I had to immediately Google her age, and I was like, oh, okay, Damien, you're safe for now, but no Diddy. No Diddy, dude.
I feel like it was tasteful enough. Like I don't think it was overexposing or sexualized too much. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, okay, and you're actually bringing up one of the best parts of 2, Jacob, with mentioning her costume, and that is Terrifier 2 has a plot.
Yes.
Yeah. Shout out.
And Terrifier 2 gives us so much new lore too, with like the dad, the pale girl, the sketches. There's so
man.
much new lore in it.
Terrifier 2 by far has the most story for sure. Like even out of because even I watched the interview with Damien Leone, and we'll get to 3, but he said 3. He tried to do a happy medium between 1 and 2, and you can kind of tell that in the story. I feel like Terrifier 2 has the most mythical stuff, so much in the story, and I think that's why it's my favorite because I'm a story guy and character guy. So I think that's why I think 2 is the best.
Yeah, Jacob, I'm actually with you. I think that 2 out of the franchise is the best.
Heck yeah.
I can agree with that for sure.
Right?
The same. Yeah, 2 is definitely the best one so far, in my opinion.
Heck yeah. All 4 of us. Okay. I'm happy because a lot of people have been saying 3 is the best. And I'm just like, I don't think it beats 2, but we'll get to 3.
Oh, sorry. Finish, Jacob.
I said we'll get to 3.
I can understand why people think 3 could be the best. I think that one, like I said, is easier to stomach than 2, just because it is so much back-to-back violence, and I find that one just a little exhausting. Like, out of all of them, I will probably never rewatch 2, even though it is the strongest, in my opinion, out of the franchise.
I agree. I definitely agree. Terrifier 3 gets this close, but it's just like when you see that initial fight scene between Sienna and Art, it's just like, damn, she's hanging with him. She's just like, you stabbed me and you did all kinds of shit. I come back from the dead and I beat his ass like he stole something from me. And it's just like, whoa, girl, whoa. Like, was it Anna Ripley or something Ripley from the other final girl from, I believe, the Alien franchise?
Ripley,
yeah. That's like one of the top 2. Well, I would say top 5. I don't want to reach with Sienna right now, but maybe by like Terrifier 4 or 5, Sienna's probably going to be like peak badassery because she's literally the only person that can stop Art. Literally.
I don't think she's past Sydney Prescott yet.
Me neither.
Not yet.
I think Sydney still holds that title pretty tightly.
Hate to say it. Hot take. But in my opinion, she has.
Okay. Hot take, Nick.
Okay.
Humble opinion. And I feel like because there's a deeper connection between her and Art, Damien has talked a little bit about the lore, and I will say the Terrifier lore is messy. I really do feel like he's spitballing sometimes with this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But
that's the vibe I've been getting.
Yeah.
He has said that Art is like a force of evil, and that he's sit here to fight the forces of good. I feel like that's so much more in depth than like your basic simple final girl slasher type thing we've seen so far. So in my opinion, she has surpassed her, but like a long time ago. Because the scene with the sword and like killing Art in the second movie, that was just badass. That was badass.
Cut that head clean off.
Yeah, I did love that. And I mean, we'll get to like 3 and what Art kind of, because we get answers into what Art is kind of in 3, but in 2 he's still kind of up in the air of what he really is. We know he's a serial killer, obviously, but there's questions, and they raise a lot of questions that aren't answered in 2, and that frustrates some people I've seen. But I think 3 even makes 2 even better, just because of some of the answers we get, and then we can kind of look back. But like, yeah, 2, I think, like I said, is just the story, the myth to it, just like so much greatness there. Well, not greatness, goodness. I'm not gonna say greatness, but like there's a lot of good there.
I don't know. You could take like the Voldemort route, where you could be like terrible things, but great.
Facts. Like my last thing is like I'm kind of jealous of Sienna's mom because she's like the only person that got mercy in the whole movie. It's just like she's grieving because their dad passed away, but at a certain point, there's no excuse for how you're treating your kids. So I'm like, Art's probably going to fuck her up really bad. Turns out he blows her head clean off her shoulders with a shotgun. And it's just like, damn, dude. Damn. why are you going to chop everybody else up and then show mercy to her? And it's like, well, all right. So
I don't know.
it's way more personal now between Art and Sienna. So
This is true.
I
don't
really.
know.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh,
No, it's okay. Go ahead. I'm terrible at interjecting.
I really wouldn't call it a mercy kill though, because he just completely like just violates her corpse later on with the mashed potatoes. Like
oh,
she's sitting there, Jonathan comes in, he just grabs him and starts like shoving them in her face. So I really wouldn't call it a mercy kill because there's going to be no open casket funeral there. Like she's going to have to be cremated or closed casket.
See, and I was gonna give sympathy to the car.
right?
Like that caused her great emotional distress. I think torture did occur here.
Facts.
She was really wigging out.
I forgot about the mashed potato scene.
Man, I think I was eating during the mashed potato scene too, and I had to pause before I really barfed. I was really I was like, no.
Not today.
I think 2 has some of the most, like, him in the Spirit Halloween-esque store is just great. When he puts on the sunflower glasses scene, he's honking the horn, and he's just stalking her. I was just like, this man is gold. I was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's where they really like start upping like the campy elements to Art as well. Isn't 2, I think.
Yes.
Like he has so much more time to just be ridiculous in a way that is completely comedic.
He even goes trick or treating. I mean, it's just. I love that. It's just there's so much because like, and then you got the whole dream sequence with the clown cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yes, can we talk about the clown cafe? Oh my gosh.
He used a Tommy gun to kill people. It was great. I loved it.
Yes.
Well, the fact that we also have like the kid eating the cereal with the razor blades, and like we have this incorporation of all of like the Halloween mythology and like propaganda of people believing like, oh, be careful, like there's razor blades in the apples, now there's razor blades in the candy, and he puts it in cereal. I was like, I don't remember that ever being a thing, but I love that that's where you went with it.
Yeah. Like, what's the most messed up thing I could do now?
Children's boxed cereal.
Bingo. And that song is iconic now too. So if anybody sings Clown Cafe in public, the real ones are gonna know. They're like, oh, you're a Terrifier fan. So
We see you.
we see you.
Okay, I have a question about the Clown Cafe because I have not had time, I'm so sorry, to like deep dive any of the lore for this universe. What is the Clown Cafe? Like, what are the theories? Does anybody here know?
So one theory I've heard is that I actually saw this in a video the other day that the Clown Cafe is like a fictional place and all that, but if she died in the dream, she would have died in real life, like right then and there. So it was like a challenge of her bravery to see if she was able to take on Art in real life.
Okay.
Which I found interesting. It actually makes sense with the sword and the cereal box and her like putting her hand in there, getting cut by the glass and everything, but she still takes it out and still goes after Art, who just killed everyone in the Clown Cafe. And some people think the Clown Cafe is like another one of Art's secret lairs, which it might be, but who knows at this point.
Got you. So it's more like about her building like the mental strength for
Right,
like, the battle at the end. Okay. I can get on board with that.
Which goes back to the whole good versus evil thing that Damien has talked about before.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense. That
Goes
makes
back
sense.
to the little Nightmare on Elm Street-esque
That's true.
with the dream stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So many people have fought Art the Clown, and it's just like all of them are struggled and lost, and just Sienna picks up a enchanted sword and is already throwing his ass against the wall, like punching him, cutting his leg up, and it's just like, damn. So many questions. I don't know where her strength came from, but I kind of like this.
Well, I'm more curious about her dad because this is where we get like the information of she has decided to go as this character, the Valkyrie. Oh yeah, am I allowed to give context? Are we doing that?
Yeah.
So Sienna Shaw, we get to meet her, and she has made this costume where she dresses as a Valkyrie, and it is inspired by an illustration. Her dad, who has now died, he commits suicide, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think so.
Yeah, like he had a brain tumor, and then he gets into like a car wreck, but there's like a lot of questions around that. But either way, to honor her father's death, she creates this costume replicating his character of the Valkyrie. And for whatever reason, unknown to us, this character has powers. And therefore she has powers. At least that's what I think is happening. I don't know. Maybe she is just a supernatural being. 3 definitely is leading me to believe that she just already was supernatural. But in that when I watched the second one for the first time, I thought this character and like her persona while in costume was more where we were going with that. I don't know.
I do remember like her dad drew a picture of Art the Clown. I don't know if he mentioned something about having dreams about Art. So Art was like a part of the comic books that he was making. And Sienna confronted him. He was just like, you never do no girl characters. And it's always about dudes.
Gender disparity.
Right? Then he finally makes her a character, and he reveals it to her while she's a child. Like, this is like a little bit before he passes away, and she loves it, of course. And it's just like, little does she know she's going to grow up to become that. And he even made the character in her, I guess, identity or whatever. Yeah. So it's just like we're all a part of this comic book that her dad made. So that could be like an interesting theory about like where art is coming from, where Sienna's power is coming from, and how long is this battle going to take before Art is finally put down for good.
Yeah, and then that leads me also into the questions I have about the sword. Because we have an iconic, like, 80s, it starts glowing in the asphalt. Like, was very much giving, like, She-Ra energy for me.
Facts.
But yeah, I'm, like, very fascinated by the weapon that she now takes on.
Yeah.
Straight up enchanted blade, too.
I mean, she gets all, like, the magical glow around her when she's drowning in the tank. When she basically dies and comes back to life, maybe, possibly. I don't know what happened there, but
in the Clown Cafe.
Yes. In the tank. And like we're forgetting about the art scene at the laundromat. Yeah. Oh. There's an answer to your question, Nick, about his body odor. He does wash his suit at least.
What?
He's sitting there. He's sitting there.
But I think the one thing about the laundromat is it honestly, like, I remember watching it with the pale girl and all that. I have seen so many theories about her online. It's crazy.
Share them all.
Well, some people think she's Satan herself.
Oh.
Some people think she's just a random demon. Some people think that she's the first victim of Art, that one girl, Emily Crane. And some people just think that Art is just hallucinating, like, and that she's not even like a victim at all. That she's just like some figment, you know. So those are the 4 main ones I've heard. Some people have said very weakly that it could be like his dead daughter or something, but I honestly feel like that's stretching a bit. Because there's no way Art has had any sexual contact with a woman before.
Maybe.
I don't know, Nick.
Oof.
But the main one I believe is that she's probably just like a random demon who is attached to Art in some way, like prior to Terrifier 2.
Well, I mean, which 3 we get context about. It's kind of hard to talk about 2 when there's stuff in 3 that kind of give context to 2. But like, and we can get into that when we get into 3. But like, when I first watched 2, what I thought was he was the victim. She was the little girl in the newspaper clipping. Yeah, that's what I thought. When When I saw that, that's what I thought. I mean, Beetlejuice did stuff like the art has a woman too. Hey, but the thing is, Beetlejuice has Riz though. He's got that Riz.
Yeah, he does have some Riz.
Art has poop, and that's it.
Yeah, Art sees little girls, and that whole scene in the whole laundromat was just kind of odd. But I did love him sitting there just like naked, just reading the paper. I was just like, oh, come on, Art, what a guy.
Good Lord, man.
It's really funny.
And then she just poops on the floor too. And like the one guy wakes up and he's like, "What's going on with my life right now? Like, what am I seeing?"
I thought that was like her guts and stuff spilling out because it looked more than just poop. It was like black stuff. Like I thought it was more
sludge.
Like, I thought it was like sludge type stuff coming out of her.
Yeah.
I don't think it was poop.
Oh,
I think it was sludge type thing.
Still nasty.
Well, yeah.
gross.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
If you're watching these films to have a pleasant visual experience,
You will not.
I'm so sorry.
hey,
That's
with a boyfriend, when the boyfriend goes pee outside the car, it makes me never want to pee outside again.
Honestly, because he just grabs it, cuts it off, and smears it on the window.
That hurt me as a man. I felt physical pain in my regions because of
that
that.
was saw it coming too. It was just like, man, why did you just like have your guard down while you're pissing outside at night?
I feel like that may have been an answer from Damien Leone put in there about the complaints about the first one having too many girls getting killed. I feel like maybe he put that in there to be like, hey, we can kill guys too, and we're gonna make it hurt really bad.
Whew. This is gonna sound awful. I did shout for joy when he started
my
killing him.
I shouted in pain.
Me too.
I cried.
How do you think I felt in the first one?
Oh,
That's true. That's true. That's fair.
Unfortunately, I do think there's a lot more media of women in this matter than there is of men.
yeah. Art doesn't discriminate, but maybe Damien does. I think Damien Leone just like, man, screw it. Whoever's around when Art's around, it's over for him. It's like, God.
I do love the whole set piece too of the third act where they go into the Terrifier.
Mhm.
And that whole scene with her dressed as a Valkyrie, and then she has to protect her brother Jonathan, and like she's just a badass, just kicking Art's ass. Just like that was amazing.
He's whipping him. He's just whipping her brother's Jacob Shaw, and he's got like a whip with like a syringe on the end of it and like some other stuff on the end of it. He's just beating the living hell out of this teenage boy. And it's just like, God.
Every movie he makes a new weapon in that little shop. And in this movie, it was the little whip thing, and I was just like, oh my God, that just like hurt me to see just the thought of that.
Yeah, and like once per movie. Yeah. Oh God.
It's awful.
And like once per movie, he at least injects somebody with a gigantic syringe just to knock them out. Then he takes them back and tortures the dog shit out of them. So it's like, you see that syringe, you're about to have the worst fate in the entire movie.
Honestly.
But yeah, I mean, you go it, Bella.
No, it's okay. I have nothing good to say.
Say something mean. Say something mean.
Oh God, no! I was just gonna make like a dark joke. You're fine, though. Continue.
I want to hear the dark joke.
Yeah, I gotta hear it.
Well, you're talking about the syringe, and you're like talking about the characters. Like, if you see Art with a syringe, you should run. I was like, well, if you see anyone with a giant syringe coming at you, you should probably run.
It's like,
I don't know.
Like
it depends on who's got the syringe. It might be a good time.
ooh.
Jacob,
Please.
blink twice if you need help.
Whoever is watching this, please do not come at me with the syringe. That was a joke.
Oh,
Please.
No, it's not.
Shoot me.
I feel like somebody's gonna come at me with a syringe now.
Shoot me instead, please.
But yeah, like
Don't stab me.
I'm just gonna say you know what? I'm not even gonna say that because that's just gonna go places that I don't want to go, and we're just not gonna do that today.
Mm-mm.
Oh man, the way that just sent me down a rabbit hole.
I'm really sorry. I feel like every time you guys have me here, that tends to happen.
Thank you, Isabella. Thank you so much.
No, that's good. It's good for entertainment. I'm here for entertainment. I'm here. I am serving my body to the masses for entertainment. Putting my body on the line for entertainment.
Isabella gives us life every episode, I swear.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But please, if someone comes at you with a syringe, please run, Jacob.
I will run.
Thank
Unless
you.
your name is Jenna Ortega, and then
Okay, if Jenna Ortega comes at me with a syringe, that's a different story.
Right?
or Ryan Gosling. I mean, I'll take that too. He can drive me all night. You know what I mean?
You already made that joke.
Or Lauren
I know.
Rivera.
Lauren Lavera would be nice too, but you know, a man can dream. But but no, in this, the second movie, I think overall just the mythology, just everything it sets up. It has the most story. It has the most. I like the direction too. I will say the score is not as good, but I mean that's just because it's not Carpenter as rippy off, I guess.
And we get the Clown Cafe.
No offense to the Paul Wiley guy, but you know, it's not as John Carpenter-esque, so I think that's why I don't like it as much. But the Clown Cafe. The Clown Cafe song is goated though. I mean, if you walk into a Spencer's, they have like Clown Cafe shirts now and stuff, and you get like you can even get cereal boxes now with like the razor blades. Like they make like replica stuff of that in like Spirit Halloween stores and Spencer's and like places like that.
I'm good on the cereal boxes.
I think I'm good too.
You would be like last time I was at the mall, I walked by Spencer's and like just on the intro, like not even walking in, they just had like tons of art merchandise. Like art is like a merchandising king now. Like they're merchandising the crap out of the Terrifier franchise. It is crazy.
Hell yeah.
They realized it will make money.
We basically have the new like Michael Myers, Jason. In a way, this is kind of like our generation's new slasher icon, for sure.
It is. We haven't had like a genuine slasher film like this in a while, I don't think.
Facts.
Definitely not an icon.
Not like this. Not where it's like a character that we associate with a franchise like this.
I think the most recent one before this was probably Ghostface, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. Guys.
But that's still before this. It's like first Scream came out in like early aughts?
Like
if
99?
Not 99?
Yeah,
I think the first one's 99.
I think it's actually 96, I want to say.
90s? Oh,
yeah.
Damn. I'm bringing Slasher back. Yep.
Yeah, it's 96. Go, Jacob.
Brain is good for something.
Bang, bang.
But, yeah, I mean, what would you guys give Terrifier 2? Is there anything else we need to say about it? Because I want to make sure we cover Terrifier 2 good, because it does have a lot to cover. But really, I think we're going to touch into Terrifier 2 when we get into Terrifier 3, honestly, because there is a lot there.
Yeah, I think the only thing we haven't really talked about is the involvement of her brother. Sienna Shaw has a younger brother named Jonathan, and he's pretty important to the second and to the third one. Yeah.
I don't know
have
why
any
I
other
called him. Yeah. I don't know why I called him Jacob Shaw. It's Jonathan Shaw.
Because I'm right
Thank
here,
you,
baby.
Izzy.
That's why.
That's true.
Right?
You saw Jacob, and you're like, Jacob.
Jacob Shaw.
I'm
There
on
can
your
be only
mind.
one J name.
But yeah, I liked for what he is he's a kid, so like, you can't really be like, oh, he's a terrible actor, but like, for what he serves the purpose of the movie and the character, and it gives Sienna something to like protect, I guess, in like a sisterly role. And I did like that. I like their dynamic with each other. And they felt like brother and sister. Like that, the two actors did really feel like brother and sister. You really felt that brother-sister chemistry, and the way you wanted her to protect him, and like he's going through the dad's diary and finding all the art stuff and like writing about art and all that.
Yeah, and he's really the one who starts being haunted by Art and the little pale girl first. Like before Sienna is very aware of their existence. Like they start visiting him at the school, they frame him, they get him in trouble. Like there's a lot of involvement in Jonathan's storyline from Art and the little pale girl. And then on top of that, he does start trying to put together the sketches that the dad has of Art as like a greater plot against the family. If you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He's they think he's like a serial killer at the beginning. They make him out to be like they're questioning like whether he's a serial killer because they found like the dead animal and then like all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, framing him.
Trying to frame him, make him think like he's a serial killer.
Just a disturbed teenage boy.
Yeah, and I think he wanted to dress up as Art, or is that
he did? Yeah,
he did.
Oh. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
I will say it is kind of like I do like that approach too, where it's like the Miles County Massacre is what they call it or whatever. And I like that it really does feel like I will give that to Terrifier too. It does feel like in those movies they are in a smaller town. Like in a small town vibe. And it does have that. Like a Haddonfield, Illinois type vibe.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure Miles County is like located on like in New York or something in the movies. I'm pretty sure it is. I might be wrong about that, but
yeah, I'm not sure where. I thought it was in Illinois for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, something told me like maybe New Jersey. I don't know where I read it somewhere, but I feel like Miles County, New Jersey might have been on like Wikipedia or something.
Yeah, that might have been it. That sounds right. Seeing them in the school changes might have been Mark. Yeah.
I hope so.
I would have gone as a little girl. I mean, come on.
Right? That would have got you a free pass.
Can we talk real quick before we finish up on this one about the fact that the little pale girl is like level unlocked? I'm going to actually like emulate people's voices and become them.
Yeah.
Because she does appear as the mom after the mom is dead at the very end of 2. And as far as just like the world we're existing within this franchise, I'm very intrigued as to why she has that power and Art does not.
That's
because
wild.
also Art is the only one that can see her technically, unless she's emulating something else or somebody else that has already died. Or actually not even somebody who's already died, like just any person or any character.
Yeah. And not they where you go, Deontay.
Yeah, so I believe they labeled her as one of the demons that's part of the resurrection of Art. So Art is still technically human in a sense, and the only reason he's as immortal as he is because there's always a demon connection. And like when the little girl is gone, small spoiler for Terrifier 3, his new demonic connection is Vicky in the third movie. So
yeah, I have more to say on that.
Yeah, I'll get more into that too as well when we get to 3. There's a lot to say about that for sure. But like as far as 2, I'm glad we all think it's the strongest because it is the strongest. The runtime, I know people complain about the runtime, but he had a lot of. The thing is, this is his director's cut though. The second one is like it is excess for sure, but after Terrifier 1, like the fans were like clamoring for like a new one, and I know I heard somewhere that like it even got like a Kickstarter support campaign going or something along those lines where like he did get money from fans to help make the movie. So I feel like he released the movie and wanted to release like his whole director's cut just for the fans since they helped back the movie, which I think is cool. I think that's cool. And yeah, it is a little long. It's a little excess for sure. But honestly, I thought the pacing was just as good. And to me, it went by faster than 3 for me. And I don't know why, but I thought the pacing was better than 3, even though it's around 14 minutes longer, 15 minutes longer, something like that. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think 2 is the best. I'll give my grade first since I gave it last. I think it's a spoiler already. I said it was the best in the franchise. I give it a B plus. A B plus for me is really good, but not great. Like it's on the peak of great, but it's just not in the A category. I think it's really, really good. I think it's a really good slasher. It deserves to be up there, and like, especially in recent years, is one of the best slashers for sure. Hurt Minded said I've watched Terrifier 2 so many times. I mean, it'd be the one I'd rewatch the most if I had to rewatch these, honestly. So that's what I give Terrifier 2.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Izzy, what did you give Terrifier 2? Or should I say Isabella?
Oh, okay. I'll go. I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I would give it an 8 out of 10. I'll definitely go that route. Terrifier 3 comes very, very close, but the reason why I rank Terrifier 2 higher than Terrifier 3 is just because that fight was just that iconic for me. It was just like, man, it's time for somebody to give Art the ass whooping he deserves. And thank you, Sienna, for that. Oh, and real quick, shout out to Perp Minded. Thanks for the subscription to the YouTube channel. We are all Terrifier 2 fans for sure. And we just love Terrifier as a franchise in general. It's so good.
Well, I'm gonna have to give it a 8 out of 10. And the best parts about the movie to me is the actual plot, the characters, because they actually feel like real people, like especially the family. I will say the weakest part of it for me is all the new lore. The lore is good, but it's messy at the same time. Like, it really does feel like he's just spitballing stuff because there's so much he adds in the second movie. There's so much that isn't talked about really. So overall 8 out of 10 for me.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty then.
Well, now we move on to Terrifier 3. And with that, we sadly are losing our man, our myth,
No.
our
I'm
legend.
sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure Art just broke into my house. So I have to go and confront him about that. But I'll see you guys later, and thank you for having me.
I love you, Nicholas.
I love you too.
Bye, Nick.
Bye.
Bye, handsome.
Love you.
Love you guys.
What a beautiful man.
Mm.
Anyway, so now
The grand finale.
there's the ugly man, Terrifier 3. I'm just kidding. Art, you're beautiful. No body
he heard
shaming
that.
here.
He heard that.
I don't want Art to come for me. That, like I said, that's the least. Anybody else can come for me. Art, stay away, please.
So
I
true.
don't wanna- You know what? I could do a really good cosplay of Art though, because I looked up David Howard Thornton. He's a tall, skinny man. What am I? Tall, skinny. So what I should do is, Damien Leone. When David Howard Thornton gets too old for these movies, because I know you want to make like 20 of these. When he gets too old, you just hire me. All right, I can do the facial expressions probably.
I actually think he's trying to wrap this up at 5. I want to say he did an interview where he was talking about how he's already trying to figure out how to conclude this series.
This is true.
So I'm so sorry, Jacob, but I don't know if
Man.
David Howard Thornton's going to age out. I don't mean to
man,
kill your dream, but
man. I don't know. The money may be too good. They said that about Nightmare on Elm Street. They said that about Halloween. They said that about Scream. And now look where we're at.
this is true. This is true.
You could be the son of Art the Clown. I mean, him and Vicky can have like a little love baby.
Speaking of baby, don't we need to talk about a specific end credit scene in Terrifier 2 before we jump into 3?
Bingo.
And
Take it away, Isabella.
Yeah, you take it away because I'm going to be honest. When I first watched Terrifier 2, I did not know there was a post-credit scene, so I did not see this.
Has Marvel taught you nothing?
I didn't expect that we were watching the MCU. I didn't expect that. I didn't. Apparently, this is the TCU, the Terrifier Cinematic Universe. But like, yeah, you go. Let's talk about the base.
Welcome to the TCU, in which Terrifier 2 is the only installment in this franchise that has a post-credits scene. You have been warned. All you really need to know is that we conclude with this epic battle between Sienna and Art. And she has just decapitated Art and believes him to be dead and gone forever. And then suddenly we jump to Vicky's storyline. She has been institutionalized. She has been acting very erratic while there. And we see her bleeding profusely and writing Art plus Vicky on the wall alongside a slew of slurs. And in her manic state, she just continues to bleed. And then we see that she is pregnant. And over the course of this end credit scene, she gives birth to the head of Art.
Blech.
It's not pretty.
I'm so glad I skipped that. I'm so glad I didn't see that.
But the other thing I want to say that's also important to this is her eye that is still visible because her face has been disfigured due to the torture she endured starts glowing, and it looks identical to the little pale girl's eye, and we don't see the little pale girl again.
That's where my theory for the new demon connection to Earth came from.
Yeah, I think that Vicky for the entirety of 3 is possessed by the little pale girl.
Ooh.
Here's the theory that I saw. The YouTuber that I watched a YouTuber that talks about it. He even interviewed like Damien at a Fantastic Fest when Terrifier 3 came out, and he talked to Lauren Libera about it and stuff. And basically what I understood from it is that, like, we learn, because obviously since we're into 3 now, we learn in 3 that Sienna is the good. We don't know. There's some higher power, obviously, and that makes Sienna the good. She's the good. She's the light, basically the heaven side of things. And then Art is like the hell. And the demon is using Art, which is a kind of a negative I had with 3 because it makes Art less of an icon because he's kind of a pawn in the grand scheme of things, if you think about it, because the demon is using Art, the serial killer, that he must have been a real serial killer in real life, and basically resurrected him. And then she's using, or the demon, it's whatever, is using Art to like beat Sienna down so it can finally possess Sienna. And the demon that was in the little pale girl demon, like Bella said, is obviously, it goes to Vicky now. And then we see in 3, obviously, that she's still too strong to possess or whatever. And that's basically, but Art is basically the brawn of the operation, basically. He's the one they use to inflict pain because Vicky can't do it on her own, or this demon can't do it on their own. Is what I saw. So
yeah, and when Vicky makes that attempt, like, Sienna's already like furious as hell, because it's just like I don't want to jump that far ahead into Terrifier 3, but essentially Art wipes out her entire bloodline right in front of her. It's just like, I already had to deal with like dad that killed himself for whatever reason, mom got her head blown off, supposedly Jonathan is killed off screen, that was a weird decision for Damien to make. Then she has to sit and witness her aunt get rats shoved down her throat. And Sienna's mad as hell. And she's just like, if I get untied from this chair, I'm going to dog walk you. And it's like, the demon's like, no, I'm just going to take over your body. She was like, guess again, bitch. And it's like, things just go crazier and crazier from there.
Yeah. And we also learn in 3 that, like, the father got the vision, because, like, when he hands her the paper, he's, like, shaking or whatever, basically having a seizure, and, like, he gets all the visions of everything that happens. So there's, like, somehow a higher power in play, God, whatever, I don't know, in this universe, whatever it's going to be that's playing there, that I guess let the father know ahead of time that Sienna was this being with basically kind of like a Matrix the One type thing in a way, Neo type vibe in a way, where it's like she's the one, and it's just like, so yeah, I guess we'll see where that goes in 4. But
well, this one also gets really religious in a way that the other ones do not. Like we have there is literally a replica of the crucifixion pose on the wall with one of the people that they kill, and then they put a crown of thorns on Sienna's head. And this is not imagery that was like used prior to this one. So I am curious as to like if he's going to continue to infuse like what we have come to recognize as like religious themes in horror in like the later installments.
Yeah, I will say the religious stuff came out of nowhere. Like,
yeah,
where I was just like, and we even basically see what we think is hell, what I think is hell, possibly whatever her niece falls into, and it's just like, man, you went from mystical to religious really fast, so it's kind of hard to decipher what's going on, which we can get to the ending later. But I mean, like, I guess first we can talk about like our theater experiences with it, since we got all 3 of us saw this in theaters. So I mean, how was y'all's?
I was really disappointed. I'm not going to lie, because I read so many articles telling me that people were running out of the theater, puking, screaming, barely holding it together. And none of that happened. Everyone was so there for it when I went. I was like, I thought I was going to be witnessing a historic moment here in this theater today. And I did not.
Nope, not at all.
I think I was also the only person who went alone into the theater. So I have basically an entire aisle to myself, which was lovely. But everyone around me is like with either a friend or a partner. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. No one came to this alone. So yeah.
I can relate to that. I can relate.
Yeah.
So I went with Blake though. I went with Blake for this time around. So I didn't have to. I had somebody I could puke on. So thank goodness I didn't. Like Blake is saying, like it's definitely like a cash grab as far as the puking marketing pitch.
It has to be.
Yeah. They did that with the Saw movies too.
Yeah, they really did.
I remember growing up, every Saw movie every year was like the most terrifying thing ever. People were passing out when the new Saw movies would come out, when they came out every year back in the day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's even like what is said about the first Exorcist film, is that it was so intense for viewers in the 70s that they were puking in the theater and like they had never seen this before.
That I could believe, because I feel like that in the 70s was pretty crazy. But like
that one I do believe, but I think that's what started the trend of like other horror movies trying to capitalize on that marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Blake has a good question we skipped. Hold on. What if H20?
Oh shoot.
He's asking the viewer a question, or the leader a question here. What if the H24 comes along at the same time? What would you choose? H24 all day. I'm sorry, Terrifier. Bye.
Right. Bye, Felicia.
I'm not worried about you. I got H24.
Hey.
But yeah, definitely H24 Blake. But yeah. So I mean, that sucks y'all didn't have. My theater experience was actually pretty freaking off, honestly, too, at the same time. I went there. I'm gonna go on a little rant, because I feel like when I told my friend, I promised my friend, I forgot this rant even was a thing, but this just popped back in my head. The anger came back to me. Man, Terrifier has some terrible fans. Or people around us, or people in my area just suck. Because I went and saw Terrifier 3 on a opening Saturday night with one of my best friends. It was me and him, because he's the one that got me into Terrifier. So we went and saw him. And he's a sicko that got me into him. Shout out James. You sick man. You got me into these movies. But we went, packed theater, absolutely packed. Everybody, a lot of people my age, probably younger, a lot of probably 18 to 25, that range. A lot of young people. You could smell the weed in the air.
Hey.
you could see the vape. You could see the vape in the air. I mean, people were vaping in the theater. I was like, this is perfect. I was like, this is Gen Z in a nutshell, this theater experience. But there were so many people on their phones the whole time. And there was somebody that sat in front of me, and I'm too nice. I'm too kind and cordial. I cannot say anything to people in a theater. I will not tell people to shut up. I will not tell people to be quiet. I will not say anything to people. I won't even go out and get the theater person because I'm like, I don't want to be that type of person. I hate it, but I just sit there and suffer. I don't know why I do that, but I do. So I basically just put my big ass foot in front of where the phone was so I didn't have to see it. Thankfully, I have a big enough foot to cover the phone. But yeah, this person was on their phone, and the first few death scenes, they absolutely recorded the whole death scene, and they're sitting there with their phone recording the whole scene on Snapchat, and I'm guessing putting on their story. I don't know what they were doing, but they were sending a bunch of Snapchats to people. And then I saw maybe 4 or 5 phones just in front, because I was always sit in the very back row. That's my row, is the very back row. I always sit in that row. I don't like people behind me. I get weird about it. I don't trust it. I just don't like people behind me. So
unless it's Ryan Gosling.
Yes, unless it's Ryan Gosling. He can straddle behind me if he wants. But anyway, I promise I'm not gay. I'm straight, everybody. Ladies, hit me up. Jen Ortega especially. But no. Anyway, back to my rant. 4 to 5 people were on their phones, screens just absolutely just like brightness all the way up, just texting people. Like I could literally read this whole person's text conversation with like 6 people. And I was just like, you pay money to come to the movies and you sit here and you're sitting in a public setting and you're watching a movie and you don't have the decency to just not be on your phone for 2 hours. Are you that freaking like depraved of like, you need technology? Do you have that much of a TikTok brain that you can't just sit there and focus on a film for 2 hours? Like you have that big of a TikTok brain that you can't be off social media for 2 hours. Like it is, I'm sorry, but seek therapy, seek help, seek therapy. I'm not even trying to be rude here. I'm being honest. Like if you cannot sit through a film and look, and you have to check your phone in 2 hours, there's something wrong. Shout out to my friend Courtney, Mia Goth, true. Yes, I would let Mia Goth too.
Mia, the Queen Mia.
But no, like, seriously, like, it was a horrible theater experience. Like, it was like, it smelled like weed the whole time. I'm not against weed smoking or anything. I just don't smoke weed. But when the whole theater smells like loud the whole time, it's like, it gives you a headache. It gives you a headache. And then when they're blowing,
these movies are long.
When they're blowing the vape, like I could see the clouds of vape in the air. I could see the clouds of smoke in the air. Like every few seconds, there's clouds of smoke in the air. Like I'm not even joking. Like you could see it, and it was like in front of the screen. So every time they vaped, it like took me out of the movie. So because it was like right in my face, and then they were on their phone, and they were moving seats, and like it was just like, my God, like this is the worst theater experience. And my friend, he's a lot more loud and aggressive than I was. And I was like having to tell my friend, I was like, dude, just don't say anything. I was like, I just want to keep the peace. I'm very much a lover, not a fighter. I don't want to start anything with anybody. But like, oh my God, please, if you're going to go to the movie theater, just pay attention to the movie that you paid money for. Why would you pay money just to sit on your phone? I don't get that. That's a low return for the people around you and a low return for yourself. Like, where were you, Sykeston? You would think Sykeston, but no, this was Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Marcus Theaters, Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Not Marcus.
Yep, Marcus Theaters. It was one of the worst. And like, oh my God, like it was just like
Mr. Marcus.
And there was a girl and her boyfriend next to us, and the boyfriend kept talking about it too. And like, I felt sorry for them because they were on a date. It was probably a nice. Well, I mean, why are you on a date with Terrifier 3? That might be a bad idea. But like, it was bothering them too, so I felt bad. But I was just like, man, I was like, this sucks. And I was able to be into the movie enough because I can kind of zone in, and I blocked it out. Like I said, I use my big foot to block out the phone. But like, that's my PSA. Is just please seek therapy if you can't be off your phone for 2 hours to watch a movie. I mean, come on. I mean, TikTok is cool. I have a TikTok. I have 2 TikToks, a personal and Jacob's Film Perspectives. So I mean, I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. I'm on my phone a lot too, but I can put my phone away for 2 hours to watch a movie. Like, no, you're not that important. You're not the president. Not even the president should be able to. The president should be able to do that for 2 hours. Come on now. Like, you're not the president. You're not anybody that important. You're not a doctor on call. Please just put your phone away and let everybody else around you enjoy the movie, and you enjoy the movie as well. Why would you want to? You can be on your phone at home. Just sit at home if you're going to do that. Like,
Right.
I just don't get it. And that's Jacob's Film Perspectives PSA against movie theater phone use. I feel like people should be kicked out. That's why I like Alamo Drafthouse, and I wish we had one closer to us because they're a lot more strict on the phone stuff.
Hey.
Shout out Alamo Drafthouse. There's one in St. Louis, but I can't drive 2 hours to see every movie. I mean, that's just not economically feasible. So, like, I mean, come on. That's my rant on Terrifier 3. I will say though, we did see some. We did get some, like, hooting and hollering. People were upset. There was some squeamish people. There were some people screaming, cussing. So at that point, it was fun. It was fun, and that there was a few times where it did get fun. That's how I really feel. Yes, thank you, Blake, for agreeing with me. But yeah, like, so yeah, that's my theater experience. That's what I had to say. Let's get into Terrifier 3. Screw all the negativity.
Let's go. Turn your cell phone off and put it in your pocket.
So Terrifier 3, building off of Terrifier 2, answers none of my questions. Leaves me with more. Really fascinated by how we're going to wrap this up. I don't think it's going to be with a bow. Yeah. So, where do we want to start with Terrifier 3?
I guess we can talk about the opening murders. So, right off the bat, like the scene that they said that was going to make us puke. I could see like them pushing it because it's like a random family on Christmas Day. He's just in the house, is dressed up as Santa Claus, and motherfucker chops up a child in his bed.
Yeah.
What I am more confused by in that sequence is the time jump, because that happens and then it says we go back 5 years and then it says present day, and I was like, okay, where are we?
Wasn't the time jump was like back to where he was like resurrecting with Vicky, and then he basically kills Chris Jericho and some other woman.
Yeah, he kills Chris Jericho in the. Which, shout out to early 2000s WWE fans. We got Chris Jericho in this movie, but yeah, that was kind of cool seeing him. That was like a childhood thing. I was like, man, I haven't seen him since I was like 8 years old watching the Raw at night, like, you know. But like, yeah, like that, and he kills like the guard. Is it the? He kills the one cop and he puts his head on his body. I know.
Mm-hmm.
And then he takes the train station, I think, to go to the mental hospital where she has his head. And then that's where he gets his head again, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct.
But yeah, so that happens, and they go ham on Chris Jericho for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I will say that the editing was a little odd and choppy there, where it's like, because they're going back and forth, and it's just like 5 years in the future, 5 years back. And I also didn't explain why. I also didn't get why he went. I guess because it's demon stuff, you can get away with it. But like the way he went into comatose for 5 years, he just sat in that chair for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then, okay, I will give some trigger warnings for people because I actually have seen some controversy about this online. So I just wanted people to know that are watching. there is some suicidal stuff in here, and there is harming of children in this movie. And I just want people to know, like, if that's not your thing, I feel like which we'll get into it, but I feel like as a blanket statement, I feel like they could do the killing children as tastefully as you can do killing children and get away with it. I feel like it was as tastefully done as you can do that. And the suicidal stuff is just one scene. It's just like in a bathtub scene, but just like, I just want to give a trigger warning to people watching, just in case, because some people can't handle that, and I don't want them to go into this and be like traumatized or whatever.
Yeah, no, because it is pretty graphic, that moment in the movie.
Oh my God, James! Yes, yes, I did. You just scroll back. You just missed a 20-minute rant of me just going off on our theater experience. James is here. He's the one I saw it with. Yeah, I went off. But yeah.
Yeah, pretty much like the first murder, the first true murder of Terrifier 3, where he just takes out a family of 4. There's a husband and wife, a daughter and her brother. They
and
set
they're
out
like
cookies.
children. They're like around like 6-8 years old, roughly.
Babies.
They're babies.
Real babies. And what you don't see Art killing the son. You hear it because he goes upstairs. You hear the door opening and him going into the bedroom and chopping something up. And then when the mom finds bodies all over the house, she gets to the boy's bedroom and they show the boy's corpse.
They show what's left of it. It's like limbs.
It's like nothing but limbs, heads over here, like organs of the little boy. It's like, oh my Jesus. I can understand people puking from that, but it didn't get me.
That one didn't get me either. I do kind of agree with Jacob. Like, I don't really think there is a tasteful way to show that on screen, but this one got relatively close as far as like the murder itself. Nothing will ever traumatize me more than Dr. Sleep, though, so my bar was already pretty low going in. Like, if you cannot handle any child violence, I cannot say that I recommend Dr. Sleep. That one to me is the most graphic in its depiction of child harm.
God.
That's one of my favorite horror sequels. I love Dr. Sleep.
It's an excellent film, but baby Jacob Tremblay, I can't.
Yeah, that even I'm a sick, depraved weirdo. That stuff never bothers me. I don't, unless it's a baby. If it's a baby, I can't mess with it. No, I'm checking out. But if it's a little kid does not bother me. I know that makes me. Maybe I'm a psychopath, but or who knows? But like that one in Dr. Sleep, it did get me a little bit. I was like, oh God! I was like, oh no, like very cringy.
Jacob Tremblay is just too good of a child actor.
Yeah. Maybe because his name is Jacob. Maybe that's why I bothered me.
That is awful. If that is true.
No, it was just a very rough scene for sure. But yeah, this one is done better than that in my opinion. When it comes.
Yeah, and like the mother, she's just like in bed with her husband. And she's like, her bed is like shaking because Art is on the other side going to town on her husband. And she doesn't feel it until like the 9th or 10th time the axe comes down. And she's just like, what? And then like her mattress is covered in blood. She's covered in blood. Her eyes open. And the first thing she sees is Art in the Santa suit. Just yaka. And it's just like,
shout out my mom. That's my mom.
Shout out to Mama Bear.
Shout out my mom. I made her watch the first 2 movies. I put her through that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mom.
Can you imagine being that mom in that scene? Is hysterical as hell. Like your husband's chopped up next to you. You run to go see the kids. Okay, the son is chopped up, and you don't know where the hell your daughter is. And it's just like she's trying to run for her life. Art chases her downstairs, and he was just like, "You're not going anywhere." Arm comes off, chops the neck. everything. It's
But
like,
see,
oh,
that's another moment where we have like that campy element infused because she opens the door, she sees the body, and she just keeps screaming. She's like, ah, ah, in like 3 different cutaway scenes.
she lost it. She lost her mind in that moment.
She had to lock the door. She didn't lock the door at the beginning that started this, or maybe she did and Art broke in, but she just had to lock the door.
Oh, Art came in through like a glass window. Full body just broke that shit in and nobody heard it. That was insane.
Yeah, if she didn't lock that door. Hi, Mom. Your son made it, but no, I'm just kidding.
It's like nobody survived. The baby girl's hiding underneath the sink.
I will say that was good how they handled that, because maybe this is weird, but like for me, seeing the little girl getting chopped up would have been worse than the little boy. That sounds very sexist of me to say, but I don't know, just something about the little girl. I was like, oh, he's not gonna. To be fair though, she was also younger than the brother. The brother was a little bit older, so maybe that's it too. The little girl was probably like 5, like she's a tiny, and I was just like, oh god, I was like, I can't.
Baby.
I was like, I can't do that. So the fact that it was just a wave and then it cut, I was like, okay, I respect you.
Thank you, Damien. Please off screen that shit.
Yeah, I do think there was like a sigh of relief in the theater during that moment when it just went to black of everyone going, I don't have to see that.
You're like, oh god, I would have fought Damien for that. Like, bro, no, you got to run me my 1v1 for that. No.
Been like, yeah. I'm out. I'm sorry, tapping out.
Good God Almighty, and then like after that family gets completely taken off the map, there's no investigation on screen into it, so it's just like the whole family just got wiped out, and nobody in town is talking about it.
To be fair, there's never an It seems like there's never investigation in these movies. They talk about it. They're like, "Oh, something happened," but then like, there's no like. The cops are like non-existent in these movies for the most part. I mean, they come in at the first one, but like, other than that, the police are non-existent in these movies.
For real, it's like if in Miles County, if that was a real place, they would have sent in like the National Guard. The whole city would have had a curfew, and all kinds of shit would have went down for Art. And it's just like, nope, let Art just run wild.
I did saw a complaint when they saw him in the mall. They're saying, how did people not how did people not recognize him when they saw him in the mall? Because like he has become this figure. Like people are dressing up for him as Halloween, as we like see him on the train at the end. The one guy's dressed up as him on the train. Like we see people dressed up as him, even in the second one. So it's like when they see him in the mall, you're like, couldn't you put 2 and 2 together that that's not Santa Claus, that's the guy that everybody dresses up as? That is a little flaw with the movie, I will say.
Well, the other thing that's interesting about this is that we learn through a new character named Mia, who has a true crime podcast, that apparently one of the popular theories is that Art the Clown doesn't actually exist, and Sienna, since she is the one discovered at the scene of the crime and Art is missing, is believed to potentially be that one who actually killed everybody. And so is Jonathan. Like, they're both like kind of being construed as the killer.
The ones that did it, yeah.
Yeah, it's the ones that did it.
It's insane. That is insane.
You will be perplexed.
Yeah, Sienna's battling PTSD actively, like trying to get through her day-to-day life, and everybody's just like, you're the one who did it. Like, so we don't care if you're stressed out and high anxiety over watching your family die.
That's a good angle to go at. Like, I mean, that's obvious. Like, that's an angle in a lot of movies nowadays with the internet. It's just like exploitation of trauma and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I can see that was definitely a theme he was going for. I don't feel like he perfectly executed it. That's another issue I would say I have with this movie is I feel like it shows her at the behavioral health place 5 years after or whatever, and it says she's been in and out. And I feel like her PTSD arc isn't really that much. Like, a lot of people were saying that they loved the PTSD angle. I don't feel like it was very handled well in this one. I don't think. At least for me.
Yeah, the way the other characters responded to her PTSD was really bad.
Yeah.
Like her aunt's husband, like he would just like kick her out the house. And it's like, God damn, she needs a place to live.
Yeah.
You don't have like a little bit of patience for her, like, ugh.
Like it was there. It was like a nugget. It was there, but it just needed to be bigger, more developed, more written on. Which again, you can tell he's more of an effects guy and less of a writer director.
Mm-hmm.
True that.
This is true. But yeah, we have Vicky and Art that go into their weird, like, comatose state that I think Jacob brought up a second ago.
It's just weird.
It is strange. And I don't, did it say how long?
5 years.
It's 5 years for that one? Okay.
It's 5 years. And another thing that felt gratuitous. I mean, this whole movie, you could say, is gratuitous. But what felt gratuitous, the whole Vicky thing with the wrists, it served no purpose in the movie other than to be shocking and, oh my God, like, shocking for, obvious reasons. But like,
yeah,
when you look back at that, it had, if she's a demon now, she's not going to die anyway. So like, it just kind of, for that felt a little too much excess gratuitous for me. Maybe I'm a little sensitive to that. Maybe that's just my sensitivity. But for me, I felt like that was a little extra, where you didn't have to put that in there because it did nothing
at all.
Agreed.
It wasn't a part of Art's kills. It wasn't a part of it wasn't him killing people. It was just her with a piece of glass, and I was just like, okay, she's in a tub.
The only thing I can potentially construct to justify that choice is maybe because she is now possessed by the little pale girl. Maybe it's like she doesn't have full control over the vessel unless the vessel is dead. Obviously, I am not the writer of this. This is just one of the things I was considering because I agree. I didn't think that was fully justified, and it's pretty extreme in how it's shown.
Yeah.
I definitely looked away for that one. That one got
me too.
I can never watch scenes like that in any movie. It's just like, as soon as I see the knife go towards the wrist, I'm like, turn this shit off or just fast forward. Like,
yeah, anything with a wrist, veins, cutting, I cannot. I'm out.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, Blake. Appreciate you for stopping by and watching the show with us, brother.
Thanks for tuning into my rant. That was extra, but yeah, it was extra because the kid thing had a purpose in a way, because it's Art killing people and it's Art on his rampage. So at least that was a part of the thing. Vicky, doing what she did, besides, it could only be what Bella said. Other than that, it had no purpose unless it was that. But, I don't know.
If there's other theories out there for like why that was necessary, I'm curious to hear them. I don't feel like this movie gave me enough information as to like what Art or the little pale girl really is to make that clearer. But yeah, that's my take on that.
But what we do get is when they come back, when they go the 2 deaths after that, when they go to the demolition guys or whatever, when they're going to make sure that's cleared out or whatever before they destroy it, we do get what I think is my favorite kill of the movie is not while Vicky's going at the guy at the bathtub and the curdled blood, just seeing all that blood, just how it was like old blood just curdled in the bath. But the scene where he basically takes the guy's flesh and the skull pops out. That was practical effect mastery. I will say that was just like credit where credit is due. That was just like, it looked so real. It didn't look fake. It looked so real. It was just amazing. That's my favorite kill of the movie, is that just because of the practical effects and the effort and just him, that guy gets it. He gets tortured. I think he like stabs him. I forgot exactly what happens. I know he stabs him in the hand. He bites off some of his fingers. And then he all I remember is he basically stabs away at his scalp, and then he rips the scalp open and just the skull pops out. And that was a great effect. That was my favorite kill of the movie.
Yep. It's impressive. Like, given that, like, credit where credit is due, like Jacob said, like, all of these movies have entirely practical effects used.
Yeah.
And you don't see that a lot in horror.
No.
And it's realistic, and you could tell it took a lot of effort. A lot of people and worked on that for sure.
Yeah.
Man.
It's weird to find gore nostalgic, but this one does it for me.
Damien is in his bag when he does that. That's like him for like most of these movies. It's like, whoa, dude. Like, I guess he found his calling. I don't know about directing and writing, but just get it, Damien.
I think he is excellent at creating characters.
Mm-hmm.
Is my take on this.
I think if you gave him like Rain, this may be sacrilege, but I feel like if you got someone else to write and direct a Terrifier movie, a better writer and director, but keep him on as the practical effects guy and have him as a consultant on everything with art, I feel like that would be the best Terrifier movie. If you had maybe somebody with more writing experience and a better director, cinematographer for camera work, which I feel like that would be a better movie. But I will give him credit. Terrifier 3 is by far the best cinematography-wise, probably, I would say. It does have some neat shots, some cool shots. He is getting better. Which each movie he improves in the writing and the direction, I will say.
Facts.
Which I think is really exciting. I kind of love that you get to see the evolution of the artistry with each passing film.
Yeah, I do like that.
He goes in, like, I guess he just goes in his little studio and just zones out on all these fake bodies and props. It's just like, all right, then, like, no one can challenge him in that field, but you can challenge you in everything else.
If he's not like working on the Terrifier movies, it's like if he gets done, like Bella said, when he gets done with the fifth one, it'd be cool for him to like come to the practical effects team of like if they make another Nightmare on Elm Street or something like that. Like
there's a very similar effect usage in this film to like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, get him working with that. I would like to see him a part of that in some way. I think that would be cool for sure.
And that reminds me.
Oh, you go.
That reminds me of like my favorite kill of this movie. This dude walks into a bar and there's just three guys. One of them Santa Claus, and he's in his Santa suit too, completely covered in blood in his suit. And was he dressed as Art when this happened? And he loves Santa, huge Santa fan. Santa even allows him to sit on his lap.
And he pees on him.
And then as soon as Santa pisses him off, he pisses on him. So
I love the childish nature of that. I love how he takes the shot and he spits it back out. And like when he comes by the window, when he first comes by the window, he stops and he does his little mime performance. And
he was like, "Is that Santa?"
David Howard Thornton does bring some new elements to this one. This is his best performance as Art the Clown, definitely. It's just like the little scenes, like even in the earlier scene when he's eating the Christmas cookies after he's done killing the family, and just his little facial expressions is just funny.
It really is, because he froze Santa Claus with like a nitroglycerin weapon that he made on the spot.
Yep.
And then he shoots one guy, and I forgot what he did to the other guy,
which is Clint Howard, Ron Howard's brother, director Ron Howard's brother.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, the guy with the hair on both, the guy with the bald spot. I'm sorry that I'm describing you as the guy with the bald spot, but the short guy, he's Ron Howard's brother.
I had no idea.
Yeah, famous director.
Yeah. Love Ron Howard. Love Bryce Dallas Howard too.
Yeah, he's also the uncle of Bryce Dallas Howard, if you know her as well. So
the Howard family is showing up and showing out. Like
he just gets shot in the head.
Bottle. Yeah, he freezes Santa to death and just smashes his entire.
Yes, it's his new method of killing that we discover him testing in the lab that is just an abandoned house that he has taken up residence in.
Right? It's like, dude,
he sprays his victim with liquid nitrogen and then he just crushes them with a hammer.
One limb at other. And
He
like
freezes the rat and then feeds the rat to the other rats.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
And then poor Santa, his legs.
Oof. Oh yeah, the bone and stuff. Oh.
Yeah, Santa was alive and well and felt all of it.
Oh.
Hoo-hoo.
That was rough.
Yeah. So weirdly, rough. I was able to stomach that better though than any of the deaths in 2.
That's fair.
That one I almost felt in my bones. Like just the thought of being frozen and then
and you can feel it. It's just like he's knocking your leg off with a hammer, and it's like, oh my god.
I want to know what's his thing with peeing. Why did he just pee on Santa? What was his? This is a grown man. Why are you just peeing on Santa?
Yeah, like now you're not getting nothing for Christmas, dude. You just fumbled the bag, bro. What are you doing?
Just running full. I guess he couldn't hold his bladder. I guess maybe he has bladder issues. Shame on me for attacking Art for his bladder issues.
No, it's interesting because we see this a lot anytime we start heading into like demonic possession territory of like suddenly bodily fluids are frequently making an appearance.
Right?
That is true.
The Exorcist.
Yeah, Exorcist is a great example. I mean, even like it's not The Conjuring that I'm thinking of. The Conjuring doesn't have bodily fluids. Or wait, it like I'm getting it confused with a different franchise right now. I'm very tired. I'm so sorry. But either way, when you see demonic possession in films, Jennifer's body. That's the one. Yeah. You just suddenly see an expulsion of puke. It's a lot of feces. It's a lot of like peeing. Yeah. I don't know why we equate that with demonic possession. I would have thought that demons and Satan would have better things to do than that.
Right?
Just like inhabiting a human host on Earth, but it's interesting and it's consistent. So, that's what I'm going to chalk it up to.
It's permanent in the lore of demons and evil spirits.
Yeah. Very much is. And we see it from Vicky as well. Although Vicky is interesting. Because can we talk about the fact that she just kind of bleeds randomly?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was
weird.
Yeah, there's.
Are you talking about from?
Yeah.
So you remember,
she is. I guess I can say this word. She is doing masturbation with a piece of glass, basically, while Art is killing one of the people. She's
yeah.
Is he like watching? Is she watching Art kill somebody?
Yes.
Yeah. And she's like getting turned on by it, touching herself with glass in her areas. And it's just, that scene got me too, where I was like, oh my God, what is going on?
Yeah.
No, I was like, why? Just why? But I thought it was interesting because the way it's shot is identical to her end credit scene in 2, where she's pregnant with the head of Art. Like all of those shots where it's like just the dress and then the blood dripping. I was like, what are we doing? Okay. Choices were made.
Yeah. At least we know that Art does stuff that turns Vicky on. So they have their...
At least he makes her happy,
50 Shades of Red in their situation.
Hey, you know what? Art's getting more action than me. I'm proud of him. Good job. Good job.
Woo.
I'm not going to partake of this conversation.
What a guy. Art the guy.
Helps. Yeah. That helps the theory of Art having children, because it's just like there's probably more Vickies out there that we don't even know about.
So I'm going to jump back into the timeline and continue moving this forward. The next thing that we learn is that Sienna has been in and out of like a rehabilitation center and like talking to therapists, and she's on medication for her PTSD nightmares and not necessarily like hallucinations. Everyone thinks they're hallucinations, but I'm kind of led to believe that they're actually like the spirits haunting her of like all the people that died in the second film. And she has just been picked up by her uncle, and she's going to stay with her aunt, her mother's sister, and her uncle, and this new character that apparently is very important to Sienna that we have never heard of before. Her name is Gabby.
Oh.
And she is also a baby. And she's adorable. I really loved this actress. She was so cute. Yeah.
She sure was.
She really was. It was so precious. And that relationship I thought was just very endearing. We also learned that her Sienna's brother Jonathan is now in college. It's like, you go, kid.
All right.
Yeah. And we seem to have sort of moved past art and the trauma to like, you know, go and achieve things and be members of society again, even though there's a lot of thoughts permeating their worlds of them being the killers and making everything up, which is, you know, not fun, especially when you're going to college. And then we meet Jonathan's roommate, Cole, and his girlfriend, Mia, who I mentioned earlier. And she has a true crime podcast, and they are both equally insufferable as characters.
Hey, shout out. At least I will say Cole is at least a little more understanding. I will give him that. He's a little more nice to Jonathan, because when I see Jonathan and Cole together, I'm like, those two really wouldn't be friends in real life. But like in the movie, he actually tries to engage Jonathan into, hey, you want to come to this party? Like he's trying. At least he's trying.
And he's protecting Jonathan from Mia too, because Mia just like, Art the Clown. You met Art the Clown. Oh my God. Can we talk about him on our podcast?
She's awful.
I see a lot of people talking about where like that was the weakest part for them was her character, which I mean I can see. I don't think it's the actress's fault completely. I think it was just the writing, honestly.
I mean, it's a two-dimensional character intentionally. Like, there's only so much you can do.
I will say though, this may just be me. Maybe I'm getting too old. I was talking to my friend about this. Maybe I'm getting old. But did they not look a little too young to be in college, or is that just me?
Okay.
The blonde girl, Mia, at least I thought she was like 15, 16 max, and then they were trying to say she was in college, and I was like, huh. I've been in college. She does not look like she'd be in college, and Cole didn't really either. And Jonathan, that man hadn't even hit puberty yet. His voice was still like peaking. Like I was just like,
go ahead.
No, I was just like, did y'all have that issue, or is that just me?
As somebody who was an RA, they looked about the right age to me.
Okay.
That's fair.
Yeah.
At least 19. Like 19 years old for all of them a pop. I'll give them that much. But
it just felt a little weird to me because, like, especially when we get later when they're nude, it just felt a little off because it's like she and him, they both seem kind of young to be in nude scenes. Like something about it. They seemed young to me to be in that situation. I thought.
Yeah. It's like the first sex scene in the Terrifier franchise too. So it's
why? I don't know. They look like 16-year-olds together, and I was just like, I don't like this. Like it just made me uncomfortable because I was just like, these look like teenagers that are just going at it, and I'm just like, I don't want to see this really.
Yeah, it's like the first and only sex scene in the franchise, and it's like, bro, you just couldn't get two adults to do it. It's like, damn, like we watch movies like Halloween and Hellraiser where adults get it on all the time. He's just like, no, let me push my boundaries a little bit, and it's like.
Maybe that's it. Maybe like because like back in the day they cast like older people to be teenagers a lot more in like the 80s and stuff. Like a lot of the 80s slashers are like 30-year-olds playing 18-year-olds or whatever. So maybe now that they're casting 18-year-olds to play 18-year-olds, maybe that's why I'm not used to it. Maybe that could be it. I don't know.
That aspect of it I definitely wasn't fazed by because we don't actually see her nude, I don't think. Like we see her stomach, but like I don't remember like seeing any like particular like graphic scenes.
I think we
get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
We do get the top. There is one scene where we do see her top.
Yeah,
I don't remember that. I don't remember seeing her top.
Maybe it's
you
the best-
haven't missed anything, so
I mean, fair enough. I don't know. I didn't flag that when I was watching it. I do remember flagging like, oh, okay, we're recreating Psycho. Cool.
yeah. And by the time Martin was done with them with a damn chainsaw, there wasn't nothing left to look at anyway. So it was
I do love though when she's talking about art before that happens, and like he's like, "Oh, stop it!" Like
listening to it.
He's doing his little hand thing when she's like, "He's the most prolific serial killer." He's just like, "Stop it!" And then she starts to say like something gross about him, and he just gets a mean look, and I'm just like, just great facial acting by David Howard Thornton in this movie. Just great facial expressions.
It really is. She says something along the lines like, I just want to look into his eyes to see what it's like to look into the eyes of something that dark and evil. And he's just like, my eyes. It's just like, Art has some comedy moments too.
She gets to do that. I mean, he does look at her, and he even puts the sunglasses on her and shows his eyes to her.
And he's just like, like, Art is such an asshole.
Yes. I will say, I felt like her death was not as bad as Cole's, though.
No. I will say this right now. Me and my friend both agreed on this. I think the shower scene is the most hardcore death in all of Terrifier for me. For me, I thought that was the most gruesome, hardcore one that got me the most. Even more than the sawing and handsaw, even more than the bedroom scene in the second one. The shower scene was the top for me. I was just like, no, I can't.
Yeah, you imagine dying naked by way of chainsaw?
Chainsaw up the ass. Up the ass.
We see
and then his
all
privates.
Of it.
And then his privates. And you see his privates being cut.
I'm going to put it this way. There is a particular line from the movie Heathers about chainsaws. If you know the one I'm referencing, this one actually shows it.
I do. Yes. Yes, it is. It is definitely that line.
Well, now, Isabella, we finally got even from the hacksaw scene in Terrifier 1.
That's what I was building to.
Mm-hmm. We finally got even.
I feel like we got even in the second one when the guy was peeing outside and gets his against the window. But
oh my god!
But yeah, this one definitely. If that didn't make it even, this one definitely. Oh my! This one hurt me in theaters too. I was like, oh, I was screaming. I was moving my legs. I was like, oh my god, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, so much for gender disparity tonight. Oh my god.
I felt like he just went off. I feel like he just. For me, I feel like that was the most balls to the wall, literally. The most gruesome death of the whole franchise was a shower scene for me. Like, that's the one that was...
Yeah.
I don't know. The one that got close to actually making me feel like I was going to puke was the rat one. But, like, the way it is shot is literally trying to stimulate your gag reflex. Like, that is all that visual is.
He just puts a tube in her mouth, hammers it down her throat, and then just like the rats are like, I don't want to crawl into this. He was like, I'm gonna set your tail on fire. And rats are like, fuck it. Just clawing their way out of her throat.
And then they come out of her stomach, and it's just like, oh.
No.
And Sienna's aunt is like the sweetest family member she has. It's just like her mom's a dick, her uncle's a dick. Even Jonathan was kind of insensitive to her at some points about her PTSD. And it's like, damn, why does Art give her the worst death out of the entire family? And
that was a weird thing, too, that Jonathan was, like, so into it. In the first movie, he's the one that got Sienna, and then in this movie, he's just like, I just want to live a normal life. Shut up. I just want to be in college. Like, I feel like we needed more with that character turn for me, anyway. I thought that was a little too much. And I feel like we didn't get enough of him in this film as well. I felt like he was way underutilized.
Agreed.
I hope they didn't kill him. From what I saw, somebody interviewed the director, and Damien Leone did say, and he saw in some interview that Damien Leone said that it was more shocking that way to do it off screen. So it's leaning towards that actually happened. From what I heard from the cast and crew, is what they killed Jonathan that way, which sucks because I feel like for him, they should have done more, especially since as a fan of the second movie, all the development they do with him. Then they turn him in this movie where he's like completely denying all of it, and then Sienna's the other way. They flip each other's personalities almost against for the art way, and then they just kill him off screen. Felt a little just like we don't have enough time. Cut it. Like I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I had mixed emotions about that entire storyline and like just the back and forth between Sienna and Jonathan. I didn't love it. It was like, you both already know what's going on. You both know, like, Art is probably back. And then the fact that, like, we do start finally discussing the idea of him being a demon, which is interesting and helpful, just so we understand the immortality aspect.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But yeah, I do agree. Like, yeah, they flipped their personalities in kind of a weird way, and it didn't work for me.
No, it did not. I think Isabella mentioned earlier about like the fact that the pale girl was able to like change her voice. Vicky did that this movie to lure the uncle away, and apparently he got off screen too. So, like, what? I wanted to see that. I love to see the uncle get butchered.
They even off screen when she goes back to the Terrifier to get the weapon.
Oh man!
Which a lot of people are back. I've seen some back and forth online. Like you didn't need to show that. I felt like if you're going the PTSD arc, her returning to the place of where most of her trauma happens, you know, where she sees her friend get murdered and stuff. I feel like that could have been a powerful, pivotal scene instead of just cutting to her having it already wrapped in the gift box. Like, I felt like you could have, I don't know.
Yeah, and we should probably mention that Terrifier 2 is where we learn why the franchise is called Terrifier for the first time.
Facts.
Because our epic battle between Sienna and Art occurs at an amusement park that is like run down like a carnival type area that Jonathan, who is actually the little pale girl disguising her voice, tells her to meet her at.
Yeah.
And the ride that she is told he will be by is the Terrifier.
I can't trust my phone no more. If somebody calls me and tells me to meet them somewhere, I'll be like, no, you come meet me.
It's almost like the ghost
I'm not moving.
No.
I think it's what Scream. It was a Scream. I'm thinking Scream 3 was like Ghostface can use anybody's voice. It's almost like that plot line from the Scream 3.
That is awful to have that on your arsenal of things you can use to lure your prey out so you can chop them up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the shower scene, awful. Hurt me as a man in the man areas. Hurt me. It hurt me hard. I was just like, oh my God, don't show it. And then it kept showing it, and then it kept showing it. And I was just like, okay, I'm enough.
Justice.
Yes. Yes.
As a man, I was hurt.
For sure. I was terrified the most terrified I was for Gabby, because it's just like nobody's going to swoop in and save the day. So Gabby's cooked. It's like Sienna already watched her aunt get destroyed, and you're going to sit there and watch Gabby get it too. And Gabby used her brain and just figured out how to manipulate Art to get that sword to Sienna, and it was fucking on.
Yeah, that was a great fight scene. But before we get to that fight scene, I feel like we should talk about what everybody's talking about controversy-wise. Besides the first kid killing, there's a lot of kid killing in another scene in a mall.
Broad daylight.
Broad daylight. And goes to show Art will use any weapon he wants.
Fucking bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blows up a bunch of kids.
This was such an interesting and depraved choice to include. Just because it's like, usually when we're watching a slasher film, it is entirely attacking home life, and we are exclusively living within a house. We are killing a family, and it is one family that we're like really focusing on, or like just individual characters, but we're usually like centered in a neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Right.
And this is one of those rare moments where we see that serial killer is now moving into like more of a terrorist.
Yeah.
Like,
Bob.
Oh.
yeah, so for anybody who doesn't know, Art decides to maintain the persona of Santa Claus, and he shows up at a mall. And for anybody who has been at a public mall during the holidays, there's pictures with Santa where you take your kid and the kid goes and sits in the lap of Santa and tells them what they want for Christmas, and they go on their merry way. Art starts passing out a bunch of toys to kids, and in the very bottom of his giant Santa bag is a bomb. And a child unwraps it, and it of course explodes, and it kills hundreds of people in this mall. How we still don't believe that he exists, I will never understand. That was one of the big discrepancies that I had when we got to that moment, is like so many people are disputing Sienna's story and Jonathan's story about what happened to them. And we literally are in a mall with cameras that can film this. You're telling me nobody saw this man? Like, I'm so sorry. He is not exactly subtle.
At all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like no citywide manhunt for him at all.
No, and like we don't even have like the mall security going after him. I was like, what mall are we at?
That's what I was like, because I was like people are dressing up as him for Halloween, even in the second one, and like he's there sitting in the mall. I'm like, do you not recognize that? Because like he's supposed to be this infamous thing where people have podcasts about him, but yet he's sitting right there with children on his lap, and none of the mall people are just like, huh, that guy looks kind of familiar.
Yeah, blood all over his prop beard, and blood all over his suit, and it's like there's one mom that's just like panicking, trying to get her son away from him, and like, Johnny, come back here, get away from him, and it's just like you might as well scream, because it's just like something bad is about to go down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did not expect that when I watched it. I was like, oh, okay.
I screamed in that auditorium. I was like, what the fuck?
I think when that one happened, I like just gasped and went, oh, you went there. Like, I was really expecting that one to be like a ploy of like, no, it's actually just a bunch of toys for all of the kids.
Exactly what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, I thought that was just going to be a comedic moment of Art being unpredictable, not genuine attacking people.
And it goes on for a while to make you believe that too. Like there's a lot of like kids getting toys. Like it goes on for a few minutes, and then the little kid is over there just like looking at the package, and he flips it over, and it's just
wow.
It's terrible.
And you see some of the kids' guts too in the explosion too. So it's like, oh my god.
They do show the gore.
Oh my god, man!
It's like raining. It's like raining body parts.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, oh.
All the other kids get real authentic toys. This dude gets a bomb. That is the worst Christmas gift to ever. Santa's going to hell for sure. Man, Art the Clown is a menace. He is a true menace to society.
Yeah. So
I would say it upped the stakes. It did. It was like, oh, okay. So we're not holding back at all now. And it did kind of kick in the third act. It was kind of inside. It kind of kicked into the third act because then when it was on the news, at least they were on the news talking about it. And then that's when Sienna starts getting into panic, and then the rushing home, and then the whole thing with the uncle ends up being like Jesus on the wall. And then we get to the third act, which is Vicky wearing crown of thorns and then putting it on. Which for me, I see that as just a demon. It's because it's set on Christmas. It's technically a Christmas horror movie, and I see that as the demon taunting God, basically. Like it's just a demon messing around, taunting religious imagery. Like I don't think it was anything. I've seen a few people were up in arms about that, about the religious imagery. I think it's just because it involves a demon now that it's just that's the demon just using that to taunt. Because I'm a Christian myself, and that didn't bother me at all. Like I was not offended. Like I've seen some people been offended by that, so I would just wanted to, I guess, put a disclaimer here. Like there is some religious stuff being played with. If you are sensitive to that, I'm a Christian. I'm a Baptist. I go to church, but like I was not offended whatsoever. Like that, it didn't bother me. I just saw it as like the demon taunting God or whatever. Like which a lot of that stuff never bothers me anyway. But like, so yeah, and then they put it on Sienna, basically making her like a Christ-like figure, and then because she's the one in a way, or one of the ones, because they also mentioned that there's multiple people put on this earth to go against evil. That's not just her. Like they say multiple people. So that was kind of interesting. And then she's one of them, and somehow her dad knew. And I guess he went. My thing is, I think her dad knew, and I think it suggested that that's why he killed himself and went crazy, because he had all that stuff in his head and it just messed with him, and he just couldn't handle it anymore, I guess.
Yeah, and then Art breaks Sienna's while Sienna's tied up to a chair. He breaks both of her hands, and at some point, Sienna like passes out or whatever, and she has this vision, and she sees other creatures, and these creatures are like forging her sword for her or something like that. And it's
the Mother Mary statue, and it's a statue. It's not even a person; it's a statue, but it's alive. It's like blinking, which was kind of cool. It was cool imagery, I thought, and it shows. It kind of looks like Art kind of on a chain, and he's got like a metal mask, and he's like, it's basically
hammering,
forcing the demon to make the weapon, I think is what that was implying. It was the good forcing the demon to make that weapon, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to talk to Damien and David about that scene in particular, because there's so much going on, and we could have gotten so much more lore about Art's origin, what Sienna's future is probably looking like. But when she finally comes to, she has healing factor. Her hand is like completely back to normal. I almost didn't like that, but I was just like, for the sake of the fact that everything's supernatural already, and she's breaking out of her chair to fight Art again, I was like, all right, I'll let it go.
Well, they set it up because in the flashback, the father says that the Valkyrie or whatever can't be hurt by her weapon or whatever. He says in the flashback that the weapon can't harm her or whatever. Because I think that's how she gets cut, right? Is sword, because it gets healed. Because she's holding. I think that's because she's holding on to it, the sharp point, when Gabby's falling into hell, I think.
Yeah. Oh yes, we open a portal to hell again.
And she looks like she's getting her hands get healed from that, and I think she can't get hurt by her sword. I think that was that whole thing.
And then before that happened, Art broke both of her hands, and that healed too. So I was like, damn.
Yeah. And she even opened a present with broken hands, because before they got healed, she was opening the present with like her hands all broke.
Getting the sword out.
I guess we can say Gabby was smart and was like, okay, I know what that present is. She got to open her present before she dies. And of course, Art and Vicky are going to let her do it because they're playing with her anyway and they like to torment. So that does make sense in the story. And then, but what they don't know is it's the sword that can defeat them. And then she just comes out, whips it out, and just starts battling her.
Yeah, like Vicky made it easier for Sienna. I forgot how Vicky got defeated, but it didn't take long for her to get taken out of the picture. Then it was just 1v1 with Sienna and Art. It was like, round 2.
Yeah, I think she throws the sword at Vicky, and it like gets her in the head or something. I want to say she it's like she gets up out of the chair. She throws it like a dagger, basically, and then like takes it out. I think I want to say something of that nature. She throws it getting out of the chair. I remember.
Yeah,
which was badass. That was a badass sequence for sure. Her fighting Art with the chainsaw and her with the sword. That was sick.
Clashing like.
Honestly, one of the strong points of these films is the action sequences.
Yeah. apparently I read Lauren Rivera. She does her own stunts a lot of times, and she's a martial artist. She practices martial arts. So she
Yeah. Go Queen.
so she like
Mhm.
I think in a lot of those scenes, I think that's her because I read somewhere where she does have some kind of belt in martial arts or something. She practices martial arts, I know for sure. And then yeah, so like I think she's really doing some of her stunts.
That's badass, man. Marvel and DC better keep an eye on her. So
That's so cool. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
martial artist. That's wild, man.
and
yeah.
then she that happens. She fights, she kills Vicky, and then she puts the final blow into Art. Art is she's about to put the final kill shot into Art, and then Vicky's blood burns through the floor. She basically liquefies and burns through the floor basically, and there's hell. We're guessing it's orange and red light. So I mean, it's got to be something. And Gabby falls
down.
Yeah, going down. Gabby falls in. Sienna tries to save her. She holds the one part of the blade. She's sitting there holding the blade with her broken hands, holding onto the blade, and the sword slips and Gabby falls, and then the portal closes, and then Art goes out the window while that's happening, escapes, and then we're left with Sienna just kind of broken and down.
Yeah, it's like you better run, bitch. Art escapes on a fucking bus to whatever city he's going to, and Sienna already makes the declaration like, my next mission is to find Gabby and save her. So we already know some of Terrifier 4, the premises for it.
Yeah, and I will say one of the fun little like Easter eggs in that bus scene is there's a woman on the bus and she's reading a book called Ninth Circle, and it says it's written by Rosemary Castevet, which I thought was hilarious.
I do remember that. Damn.
It was like, okay, we see you, Rosemary's Baby.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And then the one guy is dressed up as Art, and it's Art and Vicky, and he's like, I love your costume. I wish I could make it that real or whatever. And then it ends with Art doing his little horn beep, and then we're done. I will say this, a lot of people with the issues they had with the second movie about not answering questions, this does answer some questions, but then it even creates even more questions. So then we have some questions we haven't had answered from the second movie, plus all the questions they open up again, and then we're left with like a bunch of questions by the end of this one. And I felt like for me, the second one was a more complete ending than this one. This one felt like, this is it almost felt like the middle movie of a trilogy almost. Like it felt like the Lord of the Rings Two Towers of like it felt like that of like, okay, we're gonna keep going. This is gonna keep happening. So I wish it was more of a complete ending. I will say that was one of my issues with this movie. Was I feel like as much as people have issues with the second one not ending completely, I feel like this one was even more incomplete of an ending.
That's
fair.
I do agree with that. And they all lived happily ever after. I think that's the end of the movie.
Right?
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna see what happens. Terrifier 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan Shaw allegedly dead, and there's absolutely no Shaw family left.
It's wild. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, question of the hour, though. What are we each ranking this film?
Let's get it. I will give it a 7.5 out of 10. Very close to Terrifier 2, but not better.
Got you. See, I was going to go with like a 6 out of 10 for this one. What about you, Jacob?
I'm at a B. I've been back and forth after watching videos on it. I've been back and forth on this one. My thing has changed. I'm at a straight, it may be a B minus, but for sure I'm at a straight C plus. Straight C plus. I think it's like I said. I think the second one is a star above this one. I think this one is closer to the first one for me in terms of ranking wise, and I feel like if I had to rank it, I would rank it 2, 3, and then 1. 2 being the first, 3 being second, and then the first one being the last.
I agree with that ranking.
I like that ranking.
Yeah.
You all would rank the same?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
Where would you put All Hallows Eve, Deontay? Since you've seen that, would you rank that any higher, or would that be the last one on your ranking?
That would probably be below Terrifier 1.
Okay.
That's my number 4. So yeah, everybody in the comment section, if you've seen this franchise before, feel free to let us know what you scored and what you ranked. But other than that, that's all I had for Terrifier 3.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we covered all of that. Obviously, there's going to be a fourth one. We're in the new slasher generation. This is the Gen Z slasher for sure. This is our Nightmare on Elm Street, our Friday the 13th. This is love it or hate it. Love it or hate it. This literally is our Friday the 13th Nightmare on Elm Street. When you think about it, I mean, it is that movie that's coming out, that slasher icon that's coming out, and everybody's talking about and stuff. So, I mean, I like it. I don't love it. I'm not a lover of the Terrifier series. Like I said, I still think even the best one is just really good. I don't even think it's not a great movie, but I think it could get better in the 4th and 5th one. Hopefully, if they do 5, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. No, if I'm being completely honest, I'm with you on these, Jacob. But I still know when they make new movies, I'm going to watch them just simply because I want answers.
Me too. Finish that story. Finish that lore.
Yeah.
Literally. I'm like, I'm too invested now.
I need to know. I need to know what her dad's whole thing is. I need to know what's going on, how she gets Gabby, what's happening. But my whole thing is, I was thinking about this as to end the subject. With the 4th one, I know this one cost like $1 million, $2 million was the budget,
$2
or something.
million, yeah.
With how, if Gabby's in hell, I wonder how they're going to pull that off with their lower budget. I'm kind of worried about that, because if they're either going to have to, I don't know how they're going to show Sienna saving Gabby from hell without showing her go to hell, and that could go into really bad territory really quickly, very fast.
Clown Cafe, baby. Maybe that's hell for them.
I'm wondering.
Yeah, like I'm very curious how they're going to pull that off with the lower budget. Which, again, that being said, this movie smashed the box office, so it could have a bigger budget. Who knows?
Yeah, he made a profit off of that for sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think one of the things that they wanted to maintain was the low budget for this franchise.
Yeah,
so
that is true.
I kind of think maybe it's going to continue to be low budget.
Right? You know how Stranger Things, they don't even have to spend that much money when they what is the place on the other side of, like, the
Upside Down.
Upside Down. It's basically just they're filming the same exact place, but it's just like dystopian, like, dressed up. So
yeah,
maybe that's how they do it. So
they could probably do that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, Terrifier 3, not as good as the second one, better than the first one. If you haven't seen it, why are you watching this far? I will say, we did say this didn't have a lot of lore, but there is a lot to talk about. When you get to 2 and 3, there is a lot of lore where you're just like, you got to cover so much.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, at least we got some lore increase in the last 2. Since the first one was so light on story, these 2, you could say the opposite, especially the second one for sure, heavy on story. But yeah, I mean, Damien Leone, if you're watching this, you're a good practical effects guy. I think you're great at practical effects. You should come on the show, talk about it with us. I DM'd you. Should answer that DM.
ooh.
And yeah, we got some things in the works. I've been doing a little networking. There's a YouTuber I'm looking at that I'm trying to get.
All right.
So we'll see. We'll see where Jacob's Film Perspectives goes from here. I mean, as far as announcements, I will be. You can see me, my beautiful face, and Deontay's. You can't see Bella, sadly, because she's far away. She's in the far, far away from Shrek.
I am.
But me, Deontay, and Lawson of the show, and maybe Nick. I don't know. Maybe Nick. He's being a little weird about it again. Nick, we had to trudge the earth to get him for his little appearance he had on the show today. I swear I had to pay him $1,000. I had to give him every single Terrifier movie on Blu-ray. I literally beg him with food to get him on the show.
And a party with Diddy.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of baby oil involved. But we're going to... don't cancel me. We're gonna be in CakeCon. We're gonna have a live podcast. You can see us at Cape Comic Con, November 2nd at 4 p.m. We're gonna be there live. I still don't know the topic. We're still workshopping it. We're still talking about it. It's kind of stressing me out because it's next weekend and I still don't have the topic, so that's kind of stressful. But I will figure that out. I've never done a lot of live podcasts. I've never been like on a stage at a con, so this is new for me. I'm not a huge people person, so I don't know how this is going to go. So bear with me if it goes a little crazy. But yeah, you can see me in person if you want. I don't know why would you want that. I wouldn't want that. But, you know, if you want to see me in person, get an autograph, I'll sign everything for a price. Ooh. And Deontay will sign everything for an even higher price.
Yeah, right.
Because he's more of a celeb. And
the son of Ryan Gosling.
Oh, I didn't know that. But yes, we're gonna be there. We're gonna be at CapeCon, which is crazy to me. I'm like, I started this podcast. I just want to thank everybody watching and thank you everybody's support. I want to thank my two co-hosts. I want to thank Nick. I want to thank Lawson. I want to thank Mac. Who else has come on the show? I think that's it. I want to thank everybody who's come on the show. You guys are awesome. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have been able to do this. Like, it's crazy that they let me, a madman, book my own hour at a Comic-Con. That's crazy to me. Like, that blows my mind that they would let me do that. Like, this feels illegal that I'm able to do this. But they're nice people. Shout out to the people at the Cape events. Great people letting me come on and do my podcast. I promise I won't let you down. I was hoping Damien Leone would be there. And Art the Clown.
Cancel.
Art the Clown is going to be there. He's not going to be dressed up as Art the Clown, but David Howard Thornton is going to be there. And that would be awesome to meet him. But yeah, we're going to be there. I don't know the topic yet. Like I said, we're workshopping it. It's either going to be something. If Nick comes, it's going to. The problem is here, guys. Nick gave us a great topic. We have a great topic for this show. I mean, this podcast would go crazy with this topic. And I won't say the topic because I got to keep it special. But because it may be a podcast episode coming up soon if we don't do it at the con. But Nick still hasn't let me know if he's going to be at the con or not. And I'm only going to do the topic if Nick comes because it's his idea. And I'm not going to take his idea and do it without him. I'm not a money-hungry zealot, okay? I have morals. I love my friends, but yeah, so I'm not going to do the idea without him. So I'm kind of waiting on him to see if we do that idea. Because if not, then I got to think of an idea, which is going to be me. Even though it's my show, I should probably think of the idea instead of taking it from my co-host. But hey, I'm a collaborator. But yeah, so we're going to see about that. Hopefully Nick can come. If not, it'll be a different topic. I'm working on it. Actually, if you guys want to message me, see what if you guys are going to be at the con, which would be crazy that y'all would want to see me. But if you do, message in the comments anywhere and tell me what you would like for us to talk about. because I mean, we're going to be there for people. We're going to be there for you guys. It's going to be live from the con. So, I mean, I might as well talk about what you guys want to hear. So, if I'm going to be there. So, yeah, comment on YouTube, Instagram, message me, DM me. I mean, I'm okay with DMs. Just don't send me anything weird, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You can DM me and let me know any topics. Just don't send me any weird, unsolicited things. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a fun time. Me and Deontay, we're going to get lit at the con. We're going to meet David Howard Thornton. We're going to somehow meet him. We're not going to pay. We don't have to pay because we're at the con. Screw that.
We're going to sing Clown Cafe to him, too.
Yeah, we're going to sing Clown Cafe to him. I hope he gives me a hug and lets me know that everything is okay and Art is just a character and he's not real. That would be nice.
Sit on my lap and pee on me like you did Santa Claus. Thank you very much.
You can have that. I will skip that treatment. You can have that. But yeah, so we're going to be Jacob's Film Perspectives, November 2nd, 4 o'clock, Cape Girardeau, Missouri, Cape Comic Con, the Podcast Lounge. I'm going to be there. Deontay's going to be there. Wallison's going to be there. Hopefully Nick. And yeah, we're going to talk movies with y'all in person, and we're going to have a crowd, which is going to be odd, like I said. I'm scared to death thinking about it now. Wow.
Hey.
It's a lot easier to be behind like a camera that's not in your face. People aren't just sitting in front of you dressed up as Batman or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going to be cosplaying and stuff, but I hope I have a Batman in my crowd. That's what I want. If you're dressed up as Batman and you're coming to Cape Con, please come visit my podcast on. I just want Batman in my audience. Batman's my guy. Spider-Man as well.
Ooh.
Ryan Gosling from Drive, that would work too. I will always put that in there. Yeah. And the last thing I have to say is A24, you're not getting away. You thought I was about to end this episode without my A24 plea. No. A24, I see you made We Live in Time, but you haven't made it to any theaters near me. You're not putting it in any theaters around me. I've looked everywhere. I was going to drive 2 hours for you guys, but I can't see We Live in Time. What's up with your theater distribution? I don't know. You should hire me. I could work for your theater distribution. If you don't want to hire me as a director and an actor, if that's too much for you, I can do your theater distribution. I'll do it for a cheap price too.
Oh yeah.
Give me some socks. I'll take some socks. Give me an A24 shirt.
Ooh.
I'll take it. I want to be a part of A24 so bad. This is my A24 plea. I really need to get a graphic for this because I want them to know how much I want to work for them.
Facts. Don't forget Isabella's special announcement.
Oh my gosh. I mentioned it earlier, but I'm a terrible person for
not at all. Not at all.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. Craven Conventions, October 31st, right?
Yep, you got it.
October 31st, Craven Conventions, new podcast talking about women, femininity. Is that a word?
That is a word.
And horror. And female representation in horror. A podcast that we need in society today.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys should probably listen to it. So, yeah. Girls too. You should listen to it too. But guys could be educated on it. I know I could. So, we should all tune in to her when she drops it. She will be dropping it's every week, right?
It's going to be every other week.
Every other week. It's going to be bi-weekly. The first episode is what?
It's going to be about Rosemary's Baby, but I'm also working to release an episode early. That's just kind of an introductory episode. So we'll see if I can edit that in time.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll get a special episode if we're lucky.
If you're lucky. If I get sleep.
If we're lucky.
That's really what it's going to come down to.
Yeah.
We have an Instagram account though now, so please follow.
Follow them on Instagram.
You should follow and like and subscribe.
You will see me sharing it across the waves. I will be sharing it on my stories. Deontay will as well. We will support our co-hosts and the people that join this podcast to the death, like Art does. I try to make a connection there. It didn't work. Just skip that. I don't know why Like art kills people, I support my co-hosts. There we go. Connection
That's
made.
fair enough.
And that's what you missed on Glee.
Yes. I mean, that's. Do you have anything, Deontay, for SNN?
We do have one thing. So Venom 3 comes out this weekend. So Saturday Night Nerds will be back for episode 3. Me and Emperor will be doing a full spoiler review right after the weekend, talking about the King in Black himself, Null, the original symbiote god. So if you guys want to hear us give our feedback on how Sony Pictures handled this movie, stay tuned in. Subscribe to this YouTube channel right here. You can catch all the latest episodes of Jacob's Film Perspectives, Saturday Night Nerds live streaming podcasts, SNN War, and all other kind of great shows. So, yep, stay tuned in and hit that bell if you want to get all the notifications.
And I have one more shameless plug that I forgot because I'd feel bad if I didn't plug this because I forgot. Shout out Fundamentals, new page. Deontay has been doing a lot of work over there.
Oh yeah.
I'm pointing at the. I don't know my direction. My direction is off. Anyway, Deontay is going to be doing a lot of work over there, but that's Blake Hickman and all his stuff. Go Fundamentals. I've seen him put in a lot of work over there. I told him I shout him out again, and I definitely will because he's been putting a lot of editing work and a lot of work into that. So shout out to Fundamentals. They've been having episodes like crazy. I don't know how you do it, how you guys do it over there. Talking about like Agatha, Disney Plus, talking about like Penguin, talking about Joker, all of those. Like,
yep. I think Sundays at 10 a.m. we do the recordings, and then like later Sunday evenings we'll post it on the Fundamentals YouTube channel. So be on the lookout for that.
If you want more like Marvel stuff, DC, all of that, that's Fundamentals for sure. I'm just the weird guy you come to for cinema, other cinema, like Martin Scorsese and horror and Drive. And yeah, that's where I'm ending it.
All right.
Goodbye, everyone.
That concludes episode 14, baby.
Hey.